morning. It's the main event. I'm your humble host, Stephen McCollum, and I don't know where Dale's at today. Of course, he leaves early on Thursdays anyhow, but haven't heard from him at all here as he's come in. But yesterday, we got big time by a certain head coach out there, and nice enough to join us today. So let's get right into it with a bird's eye view with Mike Sheehan. And there he is, the pride and joy of Kingman. I'm going to have statues of him here pretty soon up there if he keeps up this trek and everything. Before we get started, Mike, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you? I only have like 30 seconds today, so you might want to get through these questions pretty quick.
All right, solve your penalties. Do
I'm
this.
Fire right back. Listen, if you don't think I listened yesterday on the way up there, on the way back, and I made the family listen, you're sorely mistaken.
Did you? Were they giving you a hard time too, or they just didn't care?
Oh no, they were like Holly was actually laughing. She was having a good time. The kids don't care. Like we, it's funny. I listen to the main event all the time in the car.
Yeah, appreciate
kids,
it.
Like Holly's never in the car because I'm bringing them to school and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and she's like, the kids like, oh, why do we have to listen to this again? And so it's just, but
sports talk. Oh no.
I know.
Yeah, no. I told you I was going to give you a hard time. The second, it was funny because yesterday somebody else texted me. Of course, you won Arizona Cardinals High School Football Coach of the Week for your win, of course, over Phoenix Christian on Saturday night. So somebody else had texted me it, and then I saw your text saying that you got a surprise trip up north and all that stuff. So the second, I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a hard time today. I knew exactly where I was going with it. So
that was fair. I deserve it all. It gave you fuel. So it was good.
Well, little do people know, I do not need fuel. I can talk smack with the best of them out there, unfortunately. So, first of all, break week here for you guys. How's the week starting off?
Honestly, good. It's such a short week, right? So because now we did. That's the word I told you I got to stop doing. Okay, if I say right, you need like a little buzz. If I say the word right, just buzz me. Or I should have a little shot collar over here. This week's been a show. Oh, there. Well, man.
Hey, I figured if he's gonna blow us off, we could coach of the week, and it's my schedule now. I figured I'll show up when I want to show up.
Scares. Talk about jump scares when that comes onto the screen and just slides on. All that.
The best part, I can hear all the setup. I can see him walk in. I can hear everybody setting it up. I can hear, hey, Dale, let me know when you're ready. I can hear all of that. So I'm just sitting here listening to you while it's all happening.
So there was a question in there somewhere.
Yeah, I know. Right? I just said, how's the break week going? Obviously big game this week, and and then you got everybody's off this week on top of it. You got to worry about that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's been weird. It's obviously fall break. It's a frustrating one when you get out of your schedule. So just like having a game last Saturday, out of your schedule and all this stuff, and like trying to make everything's normal for these kids is so hard. So they're off this whole week. And when they come to practice, like, I don't know what they've been doing all day. I don't know if they've been sitting around playing video games, doing nothing, eating. I know they're not up doing anything that they should be doing to prepare their bodies for practice. So they kind of get there, start a little lethargic on Monday, a little bit. Actually, it was horrible Tuesday. Last night was okay, and we'll see how today goes. Usually we do a walkthrough on Thursday, but we're doing an actual practice today just to kind of keep going through our stuff.
Are you practicing in the morning or at nighttime? Did you change the schedule up, or you keeping it consistent with the break?
Yeah, I'm still consistent, still at the same time. So it's trying to keep that part of it, but it's just weird. It's just when they don't have school and you show up and there's nobody there. It's just, I don't know. It's a different kind of flow, and it's a short week, right? So
on top of it,
shot color, right?
Absolutely.
We played on Saturday, and then usually Monday is our install day. But Monday we had to kind of get going a little bit, watch some film on Monday, and it's been a weird, but hopefully everything's panning out.
I was giving Dale, and we'll bring Dale into this here. Dale, speak anytime, but welcome to the program, Dale.
Good to see you guys.
Truth be told, I was running late today too. There is traffic galore out there. So I showed up late. We're all
Snowbirds are
panicking
here.
around here.
Snowbirds are here.
Yes,
That's
they
what
are.
I saw two rear-ending accidents on the 202 freeway coming into here today. Literally a few cars in front of me. I was just like, what is happening today? So it's one of those days, right? But getting into last weekend's game, we talked after the game, and it was a fantastic game. I went back and watched the film, and kind of what I was seeing on the film. I talked to Coach Clark, your defensive coordinator, afterwards, and his adjustments, and he was kind of seeing the same things I was doing with his adjustments and everything. But the thing that just continues to stick out to me is, one, you guys are really good in those close games. You've obviously been in a lot of them the last couple years and stuff like that. But, I mean, what do you attribute to that where you guys just tend to outlast the competition as the games go on when they're close?
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point. I think we've been in a lot of those games. It's one of those things where you have to be in the situations, put yourself in the situations. You can try to replicate it as much as you can in practice, and it's never the same. But I think Sean did a really good job. Like he had really good composure. Right? He wasn't trying to get into it too fast, or he wasn't frazzled. He would still call the play. He was executed. So I think I'm going to attribute a lot of it to Sean, like especially in the offensive side of the ball, because when you're going down, when you're getting the ball, we had a fumble, then they fumbled, then we got the ball with 30 seconds left, and there was a good amount of confidence in that young man with his composure. Like we ran the ball once with 30 seconds left, and I think they called a timeout.
They did, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, let's go win this thing. Ty looks down at me like Ty's really good on my shoulder. My little
your offensive coordinator.
Like we got Ty Martin. I got the one guy over here, and I got the one guy over here trying to figure out what we want to do. And Ty likes to throw the ball a little bit more than I like to, but at the same time, like I'm really starting to like to throw the ball now, especially with our wide receivers and Sean. So we go into that last couple plays, and I looked down at him and I gave him the wink for the putt or for the slant, and I think he was surprised as I was in myself to be like, hey, let's just win this thing right now instead of trying to get it to a field goal and bleeding it out and maybe getting overtime. You got second down. There's 22 seconds left. Let's hit one of the best wide receivers in 2A on a slant, and we did. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And the other thing, really quick, and then I'll let Dale speak. I'm taking over the show.
He's not going to let me
show.
speak. Don't.
Well,
he was down on the field, giving you adjustments at halftime.
No, I didn't. I only talked to his dad at halftime now. Everybody else shuns me down there. So, no, the other thing, just really quick, and it kind of leads into Dale, is I ask Dale all the time, when penalties creep into teams, and coaches always say the same thing, and I talked to you about this afterwards. Coaches are, we'll fix it this week. We'll fix it this week. Well, it never seems to be fixed, right? You had a lot of penalties. Now, so did the other team. So did Phoenix Christian. I think those refs were kind of happy. Some of them were, justified. What are you doing this week going into it? And I don't know if Dale's got any tidbits on how you solve just the penalties that creeped in this game.
Well, the penalties we had numerous penalties, especially that first drive. If you remember our first drive when we had the ball.
Yeah, two long plays that were called back with penalties, yeah.
So we had, I think we gained 85 yards of offense on the first series, but it technically only ended up 22 or something.
I don't think you got any positive yardage, yeah.
I know. So, and then we kind of shot ourselves in the foot all day. Like even that sideline penalty on the big play to Stephen, like we had so many penalties. If we clean that up, I think maybe it's a little bit different game, or you never know. But this week we went into practice, and we're doing it again today. And we got enough coaches on our staff. We've got two guys on the sidelines. We're running our offense. We got two guys on the sidelines. We got a coach behind, Coach Gilbreth, which he usually spots the ball, but he's a little bit too slow. So we had to put the younger guy there. So Coach Gilbreth that was for you, Dale. So we put Scott behind the offense to make sure there's no holding calls. We got two coaches, sideline, and everything has to be perfect this week. We have worked on everything being perfect. If we get in our hurry up, we're up to the line of scrimmage. I don't want to see a wide receiver messing with his gloves. I don't want to see a wide receiver rocking in his stance. Like, I don't want to see what they emulate on a Sunday, because those guys are different. And I told them, I'm like, yeah, you see those guys mess with their gloves and they keep resetting themselves and they're moving their arms. However, they never snap the ball until about 1 second before the play clock. That's not what we're trying to do. So we're up to the line. We're very specific the last couple of days about how we're running our offense. So we are going to try to fix it. It could get worse. It could stay the same. They're high school kids, but we're trying. Let's say that. Let's say, and we talked about like our holding calls are a couple of our holding calls are like when you snatch someone. So if you kind of have someone, they're kicking back and you'll pull them straight down. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's a holding. No, it's a holding. It's a holding to some. It's a holding not to some. So how about we stay? My dog. Sorry. Why don't we stay out of that? Let's just not snatch kids, move our feet, and be better athletes. That's all.
Well, the thing that's always gotten me is it seems like the pre-snap, post-whistle penalties are the ones that can drive a coaching staff crazy. There's going to be a holding call. There's going to in the middle of a game, you're being aggressive, you're flying around. There's going to be a penalty or two. But jumping off sides, pushing somebody, I can't tell you how crazy it makes me when somebody pushes somebody after the whistle or whatever. It's like, take a swing at me. I don't care. I got a helmet on. You're not going to hurt me.
I know.
But there's going to be a holding call. There's going to be certain things that happen during the play, but it's those pre-snap, post-whistle. Did you have many of those on Friday night?
The pre-snap. Yes, we had the pre-snaps like 2 men in motion, even though we don't. It's because we run a fly motion a lot of our plays. And one of our wide receivers is over there messing with his glove and rocking while the other guy goes in motion. And it's like, what are we doing? Or like our wide receivers slowly walking up to the line of scrimmage. Hey, let me make sure everybody sees me in the crowd really quick. Look at me, get the stance. Now I'm ready to go. And we're already running our motion, and that's a penalty. And then our center, Sammy, he's got a little tick right now. I don't know what it is, but he'll move the ball a little bit. He'll move the ball once and then move the ball again. So we got another one of those penalties. He's had one almost every game. So we're working on that as well too. So if there's the pre-snap penalties, I want to say there was 3 or 4, and that is
that'll drive you crazy.
Exhausting. That'll exhaust you as a coach. It's exhausting.
So 2 things real quick, and then I'll let Steve talk.
You're good.
2 things. I know that in years past, the center was doing that. You'd be all over the offensive line coach. Have you said anything to him, or you get going soft in your old age?
It's all coaching. It's all coaching. But Sammy did switch his snap from the straight down to the top of the point. You know what I'm talking about now? So he switched
I noticed
snap.
that. So I noticed that.
Yeah, so I feel like he's been pretty good with it. However, he did rocket one back about 60 yards on a drive. So that kind of like that one was not awesome. But that kid's so consistent. So I'm never upset with Sammy ever in my life. Even if he makes a mistake, like that one mistake per 1,000 plays is not too bad, but we got to clean it up a little bit.
And then the last question I have about the penalties is who was the sideline infraction on?
It was on RJ. RJ, the crazy one. He was a freshman last year, like the loudest one, the crazy one. Like RJ.
Oh, player, not a coach. Okay, player.
No, he was the one that would sprint the water bottles out to the referee. Do you remember RJ from last year? He was a freshman.
Yeah, well, it didn't work. The sucking up didn't work, obviously.
No. So we had a big play with Isaiah Steph in like a 55-yard gain or something on a deep pass. And then that knucklehead, like, he's just celebrating. He's a jovial kid. He's into every play, and he hit the referee. Now, however, I looked down the sidelines, and the only one that wasn't in the box was my dad, like the stats. So I looked down there, and I freaking was so pissed at my dad for a second. I'm like, what are you doing? Was that at you? And he's just looking at me like a deer in headlights. Like, no, but because
we all heard you, Coach. For the record, we all heard you in the stands.
Okay, well, I was just like so mad, like, and it wasn't him, but like for like 3 to 5 minutes, I might have been the most angry I've been at my dad, other than not letting me go to a party in high school or something. But it was.
Go ahead. I would say there was a point where I were literally about to say to Autumn and go, I'm going down there and I'm going to be the sideline enforcer. So he stopped yelling at people about this.
Oh, no.
But it wasn't just you. Everybody else started yelling it and all that too, so.
Because literally since we had the one, since you run into the referee, if we get another one just by crossing over, I'm kicked out.
Yeah.
I'm kicked out. So I was mad. I was so mad. And then all of a sudden I'm like, then I'm worried about that the rest of the game. Like, It's such a menial like penalty. It's not dumb, but it's not like there should not be that big of effect on a game. Like
Well,
a
it's
15-yard.
when you see a referee actually like running down the sideline and run into somebody, or
Yeah.
because they could get hurt. See, last year a couple times, and the year before when Mike came over to SCA, I almost tried to get him kicked out on purpose. Like I'll get
Yeah,
too
leans
sideline
over.
in practice. But we started, was it last year or the year before, with the whole jersey thing. The jerseys didn't come in or something, and so he started off.
Oh,
What?
with the penalty, yeah.
I started my head coaching career at SCA with that. We didn't get our white jerseys in. They from Honduras or wherever they come. We ordered them in
The boat.
February. Yeah, there wasn't even tariffs then, so I was like, we couldn't eat. Like, it took forever to get here, and all of a sudden, we didn't have our white jerseys for our first game. So our first 2 road games, we had to wear our home jerseys. So then we were giving a penalty both games, 15-yard penalty to start the game. And I was giving it, what was it? What do they call it?
A warning?
A personal, or like, it wasn't even a warning. If I got another 15-yard penalty, or we had a sideline thing like we had the other day, I would have been kicked out because of stupid jerseys. Like, what are we doing?
And I would every once in a while I'd stick my foot out there just to go, do we really need
As the ref's running by, Dale's trying to do it, right? Well, my last thing on the penalties is Dale brought up, it drives him nuts, the after play penalties or the pre-snap ones. But then the other side that's got to drive you nuts is a lot of the penalties happened on big plays, either calling them back or you get the big play like that Isaiah Stephen one, and then you get marched backwards, even though it's a completion and stuff like that. I mean, you guys were able to overcome that as the game went on. But I mean, it's when penalties happen as well. Is that kind of a focus as well?
Absolutely. It's in big moments. We can't have you got to be perfect in big moments, right? Actually, you have to practice on being perfect all the time. Routine things routinely, and you can't get out of your little box. No moment's too big. Like, we've been in too many of those moments. Like, so many cliche coaching comments in one sentence right there, if you notice that. But
You're getting better at it. You're getting better at it.
I know, right? Like, I don't like to be so cheesy. Like, I don't know, but I think in those big moments, we just have to kind of like buckle in, be a little bit more mentally strong, do things a little bit better, and keep RJ on the sidelines when we're on offense, maybe just passing out waters behind the crowd. So that'll help us.
I do. Dale, you go first. I do have a question on your quarterback because I noticed he does this a lot, but it seemed more pronounced in this game. You want to go first, Dale? Or do you want me to go first?
It sounds like you're already into it. So go ahead.
Well, because I don't know. It's maybe explain this to me, because I ask a lot of coaches, like when coaches run their left-handed quarterbacks, roll them out to the right and expect them to throw the ball. It drives me nuts, especially at this level, high school level and things like that. So your quarterback comes to the sideline to get the play. Sean does, right? Sean Hogelson. He comes to the sideline, gets the play. Sometimes, man, he's just going back to the huddle and taking his time. And then other times he's like jogging out. Is that a coaching thing, or is that, like you said, a kind of a, hey, everybody look at me while I walk back to the huddle type of a thing?
I think it's a little of everything. So yes, it's with Sean. He loves what's the best way to say it?
You love Sean.
He's not that bad though. He knows he's pretty good, right? And I'm sure his girlfriend's in the stands, and once he gets to play, they make eye contact and he jogs.
That's what I was gonna say. I've noticed it more when he's down toward the student section.
Oh, yeah, I would almost guarantee it, and no, but I feel like as far as like fast into the huddle, I'll yell at him for that stupid stuff. So I feel like in and out, I think sometimes we try to control the time, either we do our hurry up or we're slowing it down or we're doing something like that. But sometimes he is a little aloof, and he just kind of like, like bebop's on out there, and we need him bebop a little quicker.
Those are the things I noticed. Just some of the players, I noticed that stupid stuff.
Well, tell him he's one snap away from being a left tackle, and that'll get his butt moving out there.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, though, I got something cool to tell you guys. And I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but for the 3rd year in a row, and I think ever, we never had him before, Sean was he's getting a medallion for the Ed Doherty Award, which is like the high school Heisman for Arizona, which is actually gives me chills as I say that right now. So he's being awarded that today at practice, and to see that kid come from literally a left tackle, tight end type, real goofy kid. God bless him as a sophomore, and giving him as an opportunity as a junior, being a state championship quarterback, and now on the Doherty Award list. And I think he's like 28 touchdowns, 27 touchdowns, and 2 picks, and throwing for 1900 yards. I'm so proud of that kid. Like it's that's what high school football is about, and it is so cool to have a kid that didn't grow up in a flag system and play flag football for the Argos or these other teams, the Future U's, and all these teams that like build up these kids and put these kids in a box. We got a kid that was a basketball player, tight end / left tackle, that played offensive line in high school and middle school. We turned him into a quarterback, and look what he's done. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun to watch.
All right, so let's get down to the serious part of this thing. So obviously, last week, big game, and it was on a Saturday, almost a standalone game. A lot of press on it. I'm sure you guys had a little more focus than you've had in previous weeks. Mm-hmm. And you beat the number 2 team according to the rankings. Now, how do you get them back focused? Is it Camp Verde tomorrow night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Camp Verde. They're 7-1. Yeah, they're.
Yeah. How do you get them back refocused?
I think it's just one of those things we had to get. It is like refocus, so kind of keep going. That's why we keep it at the same time practice, and we talked about like Camp Verde's a good football team, so it's one of those things where you have to be prepared. We can't have a down week; we will lose. So you've got to, and it's not one of those things where you're trying to hype them up. You're not trying to make them feel a certain way. Like, no, this is the truth. Camp Verde's a good football team. They're going to come. They were in a bunch of articles like before the year even started. They were talking about playing us, and now last week the coach and a couple players got interviewed, and their sights have been on us for a couple weeks, so they're going to come ready to play. Just had to prepare this week, still preparing today. Just trying to go 1-0 every week and try to baby steps with it.
Yeah, so just to update it, Camp Verde is ranked 5 in the new standings this week. You guys moved up to number 1 after beating you, and basically Phoenix Christian kind of switched. They went to 3. And then Phoenix Christian and Veritas play this week, so that'll be an exciting matchup as well coming up. But, so Camp Verde is a good team coming down from up north, so they get the long bus ride this time. Before we get to that, I mean, Dom Dickerson, right, is getting all of the love right now as well. I mean, when the kids see that, right, you're in Arizona Republic, and they vote on Players of the Week, and, 5A players, 6A players tend to win those awards, and he ran away with it, right? 4,000 plus votes there for him. Just keeping them from reading their newspaper clippings going into this week. I mean, how big of a?
I don't think you can keep them from it. They love it. So it's and Dom is he's a basketball player turned football player, which I'm appreciative of now, and I think. I think it's great. It's good and bad for these kids, but I'm going to take it as all good, because if you're playing like that and if you play that big in a big game, then you do deserve a little bit of credit, right? I do think he has a little bit of confidence, right? So let's just call it confidence. He has confidence, so that just feeds into that a little bit. And I'm going to take it with the positive with him, because like some kids need different stuff. Some kids need like hard instruction. Some kids like this. Some kids need kudos. And I think for Dom, like everybody likes to see their name in the paper, and everybody likes to see that kind of stuff. And I think it'll motivate him to realize, yeah, I'm a pretty good football player. Like I can do big things. So in the bigger moments, he's not going to shy away from stuff, and he can. We're gonna give him an opportunity to make big plays. So might as well be the dude and get the spotlight on you. If you're gonna make them, if you're gonna be that guy, you better make the plays too. Right.
So whose head is bigger, yours or his? And if you try to walk into the meeting room together, who gets stuck at the door?
Dale.
As I said yesterday,
I never won an award.
we're gonna show up to the game, and your head's gonna be floating.
Dale's head would be wedged in the door. We'd never be able to get in. The news conference would be canceled because your head is still trying to get through, right? Like dragging some rings behind you, and your head is stuck in the door. We probably wouldn't even be invited to it. We're just a small like high school team.
I haven't heard from Mike all year long. I get a text from him Monday evening. He's mad because Troy
The
wasn't
Bears,
being
yeah.
super duper nice to Caleb Williams.
He
and-
wasn't.
super duper nice. He was you know what he was?
It wasn't
You know,
just with Caleb though. He was attacking when they scored that long running touchdown. He goes, Bears just got lucky.
I know. I'm like, dude, just like, well, here's what I heard is Caleb apparently, I think Troy took it a little personal and acted a little whatever. I don't need to get into it. So
Don't talk
but-
Kingman on us.
Yeah, it was so Caleb, like, he was supposed to have like an interview, like, you have the pregame
Yeah.
interviews or whatever all that stuff, and Caleb continued to practice instead of worried about the media, which is good. And he didn't show up. He sent Troy a text later on, and Troy never replied to him. So Troy took it all personal. If he's going to be that much of a, like, lack of a better word, if he's going to be a little emotional about that, then I'm glad Caleb won and he got to act like a baby and be shown like that on social media.
I love it. I love it. Hey, I texted Troy and he said he didn't like his right pinky fingernail polish.
I know, I'm sure. I guarantee. Listen, I was like, what is that? Like, I was so excited. I didn't notice the nail polish last couple weeks. And then it comes out, it's pink, and it's for breast cancer. So yes, respect. But bro, what are we doing?
So, well, is that I dare you to come out Friday night with just your pinky with pink
It's just
fingernail
pink,
polish.
it's just
You got a
nice.
daughter.
No,
You got a
Yeah.
daughter.
not doing it. Not doing it. Not doing it. Not my
That's
style.
hilarious. Yeah, it was pretty rough watching that game, and Troy's taking all sorts of heat over that. Going into it as well. Hey, by the way, before we get into this week with Cam Verde, just because I'll forget to bring it up later, today is an anniversary of a big day for the Chicago Bears. Do you know what I'm talking about, Coach? 2006,
Oh yeah, Monday night game against the
Glendale.
Cardinals.
Yes, today.
Where Urlacher
yes.
ripped it out. Tillman ran it back for a touchdown. Hester gets the punt. He runs it back for a touchdown. Francisco missed him. It was a real close one. They go down.
Edgerrin James fumbled it.
Oh yes, yeah, that was the rip out.
Yeah, he
Tillman
never.
takes off.
Edgerrin James never fumbles, but he fumbles in that moment, and of course, they are who we thought they were. Yeah.
Oh, that's who the Bears are. Who we thought they
06.
were. They're so good this year. They are who Mike thought they were. So that's what the Bears are this year. They'll
3 in a
change it.
row.
We're gonna be talking. Oh, listen,
And
they
the
should
Saints
be
this
cool.
week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, they're winning. They're winning. Listen, Super Bowl, Super Bears, baby. Super Bowl.
Mike,
Super Bears.
hey, if you need to buy or sell a house, hit Mike up. He needs money because he's buying Super Bowl tickets this year.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's a little slow market right now.
So tell the audience why you didn't show up yesterday. You were up in God's country celebrating
Yeah.
anything, or you just decided to.
It's pumpkin season, right? So
You
pumpkin
did not
season,
go to the
it's all-
pumpkin patch.
Well, it is a pumpkin patch.
Yeah,
but
they
it's
do it
called
different.
Mortimer Farms,
Yeah.
which is in Dewey, which is right outside of Prescott. We go up there probably like once or twice a year, and kids are on fall break. And since I coach, we don't get to go anywhere. So Holly kind of creates these little day trips or does something with us. Come on, dog. Holly does this stuff. She just walked by, pulled my cord.
You
and
shouldn't be
turned
talking about your wife and then go, come on, dog, at the same breath, man. Come on.
No, we went up to Mortimer Farms. There's like a corn maze. There's they got a little country. It's actually a really cool place. I'm plugging them, but it is awesome.
No, it's a
Corn
nice
maze.
place.
Oh, it's super cool. Like all kinds of stuff to do for the kids, and they kind of run around, pet some goats, and feed some chickens, and it's a good day to get out of town. It's 58 degrees up there. I got to wear a sweatshirt. Fat guys love sweatshirts, so it was a great day.
Did you get a family picture?
No, we got a kid's picture, no family picture.
What?
Dale will just critique your smile anyway and how you look at it.
My chin already looks bad on this. There's no way I'm gonna give you any more
Angle
ammo.
down, coach. Angle down.
It's hard to do a 30-minute interview with your chin extended like this.
Like push your tongue against the top of your mouth. That's what I heard. Like
All right,
that, and then it's
so you got Cam Verde coming to town. Again, I never have believed ratings, whatever. Some people are lower rated than they should be. Some are higher rated than they should be. All those things. Talk about Cam Verde. What are you expecting to see Friday night?
They're big. They might be the biggest O-line that we've seen. Their center is awesome. This athlete kid, he's a wrestler, state championship wrestler. Really good football player, plays center and nose tackle for him. they're big on the offensive line, like really big. Like they are 5A, 6A big on the offensive line. They're out. They got some pretty good athletes on the outside. Quarterback's got great legs. Coaches do a great job. They're an air raid team, so it's tons of screens, tons of stuff. Get rid of the ball real quick. Run some outside zone. Try to hit them with some power. They want to screen you a lot. It's an offense where you got to guard, 53 yards wide and all the way back to the end zone. So they're gonna be tough to stop. And defensively, like I said, they're big. So they're big. So we're gonna hopefully we can hit them in a couple spots that we need to. Hopefully we can get the run game going. Maybe get our deep ball going a little bit more. Like hit a couple of those that we missed last week. And I think it's gonna be a battle. They're a well coached team. I really like their coaching staff. Coach Greenwald, really good dude. And I think the quarterback from 2 years ago, remember the quarterback from 2 years ago, Dale, when we went up there, he's a bigger kid. He went to college. He's helping their offense with his dad. So they run a lot of stuff and they move the ball on us. Then I think they'll move the ball on us. We just got to limit their touchdowns and kind of keep everything in front of us as much as we can.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of common opponents this year. They're in your region, right? Technically.
Yep.
Which baffles
This
me.
is for the region championship.
Yeah.
So they're
Okay.
actually, if you click on it and you look at region, we're actually second. I don't know why. Maybe it goes by
Yeah, because you're in
alphabetical order. It shows us as second.
because you're undefeated,
region,
and they have the one loss, right? So
but it's not in region, so only in region matters. So whatever
I
it's
gotcha.
points scored, points against. I don't
Yeah.
know how it's like necessarily giving it that. Maybe it's we have a tie. Whoever wins the region too,
Okay.
which is huge.
Which
I
sets
mean,
up for next week too, right? For the next opponent.
SCA's always
Yeah.
getting the shaft. That they list you second, you poor things.
So I don't know I just don't know what it is.
No.
Because it doesn't say like 1-1, it says 2. So it's obviously like maybe it's points for, points against. I don't know exactly what's reading.
Well, yeah, because they have some you guys did too, but they had some big scores there earlier in the year. They did play Veritas earlier though, because I mean, let's face it, when you make the playoffs, when you get to the playoffs, you're facing Veritas, you're facing either them, Phoenix Christian, Camp Verde again, those types of schools out there. When the playoffs get started, you're gonna have to go through those guys to get there and to see that matchup. But so winning the region or not winning the region affects who you play next week when they give you that other opponent for the quote unquote regular season or whatever they call it.
Wherever you end up in the region is like who you play across, right? So it'd be like number 1 versus number 1 in a different region, number 2 versus number 2. So it really does matter on that. Like PowerPoints, I don't think. Actually, you know what? I don't know, but I almost think it's like because there's so much going on with this playoff system. Like I think I have a good grasp of it, but I think it's just 1 against 1, 2 against 2, 3 against 3 in regions. So there's another game. So I think that's how it is. I don't think PowerPoints come into play at all in that. They only come into play after
Okay, so
that.
just the region.
And in the region, you know what region you're going to play against, whether you're finished first or second. And which region is that? And like, who are the top 2 teams in the other region?
They're actually playing. It's funny. So Camp Verde and us are playing, and then it's ALA, so Arizona Lutheran and Parker are playing this week. So it's like the winner and winner plays the winner and winner, and the loser and loser plays the loser and loser of that game. So it's either Parker or ALA for us, and it's same thing for them.
Everybody always says they're not scoreboard watching, but come on, are you going to be watching that a little bit?
Depending on what ours is, right? So I only scoreboard watch if we are like controlling the game and I feel like we are like in control. Otherwise, I don't care because it doesn't matter, right? So I think others do. I think other coaches will probably be looking and all that stuff, but I don't pay attention until I know if we're in grasp of the game, and if we're not, then like I will never look at that. I try not to. But if we get to a point in the game, which I don't see this against Camp Verde, like all of a sudden, like it's not gonna be the second quarter and be like, oh, hey, check the score. Like I think it's gonna be late in the fourth and see what's going on in this game. But I don't, but I'm sure there's other coaches that do for sure.
And so you're either going out to Cow Country ALA or you're going to Parker. If you go to Parker, isn't that by Lake Havasu City?
Yes.
Yeah, it's way out
maybe
there.
go
It's
up
like
a couple
2.5,
days
3
early,
hours.
rent a houseboat, hang out.
Rent a house, get a little VRBO, a couple of VRBOs. Stop, dude. Here we go. You just make it worse for what everybody else already thinks. You know that. Right?
That's all Dale's thing there. So they come down here, and when did you guys start calling your field the turf on Tatum, by the way.
I have no clue. I think I heard that for the first time as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I was
it's,
like, when did that come into a thing? And he kept saying it and kept saying it. It kind of made me giggle a little bit.
I guess
two-
if you keep hammering it home, that's what it becomes, right? I mean,
It's-
I haven't. I think
All
that
right.
the first time I heard it was like a couple weeks ago, but I
Yeah.
hadn't heard it before that.
So the other thing I got, not football wise, I mean, these now you guys people are coming. Like you beat Phoenix Christian. There was a little, soiliness there at the end of the game from that side. Now you got Camp Verde coming down here. So they're coming down here playing tough football, whether they win or they lose. You guys win or you lose. Do you think there's a psyche side, or are you trying to do this here? Because, I mean, your scoreboard's state of the art. I spent a lot of time in high school stadiums. None as close to yours. I mean, that's just amazing what you do with the graphics there on that thing. Your field's in excellent condition even after all the weather. The crowd shows up from that perspective there. So, that home field advantage you're building with Camp Verde coming down for the region, I mean, is it working?
I don't know. We barely won last week, right? So I don't know.
I was setting you up.
But I know. So I think what my goal is, is obviously like championships are cool, and that's what you're kind of trying to do. But there's only going to be one team that wins every year, so I want to give these kids the best possible experience they could possibly have in high school football, because I feel like it's been ruined in a lot of ways by a lot of coaches, a lot of families, a lot of parents. So my job is to try to give the best humanly possible experience to come to Scottsdale Christian and play football. And if it's the scoreboard's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
Listen,
pretty
I
cool.
do. It is. It's the biggest and best, I would say. I don't know. Like, I don't travel around as much as I
It
would
plays
like,
live
but
video, Mike. Like no other
Yeah.
high school stadium does that. Where literally it plays hype up video before the team comes out, and in the middle of the quarters.
There's 1.7 million bulbs on that thing, and I think Notre Dame's has 450,000.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's what I heard. So you know what I mean? It's one of those things. But I think
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
just
we're
awesome.
talking high school level here, obviously. Yeah.
I know for high school level, it's pretty. No, I'm talking about Notre Dame Prep.
Oh,
where
prep.
came
Yeah, I
from,
know.
so
And I haven't been to that one in a while. So to be fair,
I think it has like a quarter of the bulbs that ours does, but that's no big deal. That's besides the point. So
Has to have
So-
one more bulb than Notre Dame Prep. Not a big
I
deal,
think this,
George.
I know. He was George Prelog's awesome. He's the head coach in Notre Dame. He was the Cardinals coach of the week last week, and then I'm like, I can't
Oh.
let him up it. Like, we gotta go get it this week. But I just think the opportunity is in all that stuff. I think it's just cool to have for these kids, man. They love it. We watch. You know what we do? I've actually we put film on it during practice. I pop up there, I'll put huddle on it, and we'll watch film of the other team. We'll roll the other team's film while we're practicing. So it's kind of cool to constantly have those touch points too. It's random and it's crazy, but might as well do it all, right?
exactly.
So what do you get for being coach of the week? Is it a medallion? Is it a trophy? Is it a plaque? Is it?
I think I get a T-shirt, and the football program gets some money. So
Oh, there's money
it's,
involved.
Well, now you're in the
Yeah,
running
so
for
it's-
Coach of the
it's,
Year, though, which is a big prize.
What's that?
You're in running for
They do
Coach of
what?
the Year.
Oh, he won Coach of the Year last year. That's old
big
hat.
prize.
He does. I mean, he's like, come on,
I
that's
think,
old
like,
hat.
listen, the Cardinals. If we didn't, because it really is truly is a staff award. Like, it's like I can't run offense, defense, special teams, everything. So it's like, if I didn't win it last year with all the other ones, there's no way this year. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, it's $1,000 for the football program, which is pretty cool. So they send over a check with $1,000 for football, and obviously we'll get some more coaching shirts and hats, and only spend it on the coaches, right? That's
Yeah.
what we should do. Is that what we should do?
Well, I
Or
think you
no?
need to sit down with the administration and renegotiate your contract. Get that buyout,
man,
that Franklin buyout instilled a little bit.
all I know is there's no negotiations.
Yeah.
Like, I knew what I was getting into when I took it. And it doesn't matter how much we win or how much we do, everything stays the same, which I respect.
Right.
So that's what it is. But
Well,
thanks-
Coach, we
I
appreciate you
love-
joining us. I appreciate
Yeah.
you taking time out of your busy week to join us there today. So we appreciate it.
Man, I'm at home today. Like, I actually made myself a little checklist. I have to do some work. Like, this football season, like, I got to get some business done. So there's got to be some real estate that's done sometime. So I've got my little, as soon as we get off right here, put my headphones on, I'm getting to work. I need to. So
Yeah,
if you
well,
guys need a
last week
house,
you were
let me
spending
know.
at that real estate symposium, being a speaker over there. I kept seeing your Facebook posts on that. So
Yeah, it was weird. It was interesting. I did that and I was just like, I was total coach. Like I was just like, no, you need to do it this way and stop doing it this way. And everybody's like, wow, that was different. So
Oh, what are you, top 25?
top 10, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
that's
excuse me.
Stop.
I don't see your
I was
post.
15. I was 15 last year, which is frustrating, but football season kind of slows me down a little bit.
Always got an excuse, don't you?
I do. There's always
Good
something.
luck to you on Friday night.
Absolutely. We'll see you
Thanks,
then.
guys.
Good luck,
Appreciate
and we'll
it,
talk to
guys.
you next week.
Talk to you.
It's him, Mike. Of course, that was Scottsdale Christian Academy head coach Mike Sheehan. There as well. Dale, you got to take off.
Yeah, I come here. I get to see the big man. And
That's the only reason Dale came in today, folks, was that right there. Not for this.
you're right about that traffic, though.
It was terrible today. So get out of here, Dale. I don't want you to be late there because one of the accidents was right where you're headed right now. So hopefully it's cleared up by now. And everybody else, I'll get you going here to the top of the hour. Then Uncle Lou comes in as well here on this Thursday. So we'll get it all rolling, keep it rolling here. And Sam Levitt playing. Well, we got some ideas on that with the injury report. We'll talk about that. It's coming back. The main event. And we're back here, main events. Ooh, Thursday's here, and Dale just got me in trouble, and he didn't. Geez, thanks, Dale, for that. I'll have to talk to Lou about that now, but I was just making sure everything's good in life and everything and whatnot. But thanks for Coach Sheehan joining us here. Of course, Cardinals High School Football Coach of the Week. Of course, they beat Phoenix Christian for them. So congratulations, they're rolling. But look, another big game, and this is for the region. Right, this is a big deal here coming up on Friday night for them, and 1 versus 5 ranking coming up, and we've got the ASU game, of course, coming up this weekend, 1 p.m. Texas Tech. We'll talk more about that, and I've always all along thought Sam Levitt was going to play in this game, even last week when it's kind of went down and Saturday in the walking boot. I was like, he's playing next week at Texas Tech. This is a precautionary out. We've been through that talk all throughout the week and everything. But then, he's back at practice now. And we talked about it on Tuesday. Nobody was allowed to show his lower leg, right? You had to take pictures above, no video of his feet, etc. Well, yesterday, they started putting tweets out. I saw a bunch of pictures of his leg, a man's leg out there. No tape on his ankle, anything like that. The one in practice, Kenny Dillingham came out and said he likes the way he looks and he's moving in that direction. Coming up. And then they put out the injury report out there, the availability. Now, last week they did the same thing on Wednesday, and Thursday, of course, we got the news Thursday night at 7 p.m. that it was changing, right? So definitely out. They did, Coach Dillingham also said Kyson Brown is going to be out for an extended time. Xavier Alford, of course, is out for an extended amount of time. We've known that for a while in that secondary there. Doubtful. Kenyon Floyd and Ian Shewell are doubtful, and then you got the long list of probables, and Sam Levitt is in that list of probables. Jeff Sims is in the list of probables as well. Keith Abney, the defensive back, also on that probable list here going into it. We know they got kind of beat up last week, and they've been kind of on that side. Remember how I've been questioning the last several weeks? Like ASU just has this long list of names on their list, and the other teams not as long out there. And and it's just funny, and it just goes to what they always say, I suppose, just how honest Kenny Dillingham is going into this procedure and how he's putting it out there. So. But yeah, so Sam Levitt, I do believe Sam Levitt is going to play this weekend unless there's a big setback or whatever it is going into this weekend. 1 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. You need that physicality this weekend and to have a chance. Now, the Texas Tech quarterback, he's still listed as day-to-day. They're going to do kind of the opposite, right? They're going to do – they want to sit there and they want to I'm trying to phrase it non-nefarious here, but they're going to list them. They're going to make it as unsure as possible leading up until Saturday. I've been paying attention to Texas Tech media, Texas Tech people that report on them, and to be honest with you, everybody's kind of like day to day. So I will say day to day. He is listed as Morton is questionable going into this game this weekend, so. It could go either way. It might be a game-time decision. It is a lower leg injury for him as well. More so, Kenny Dillingham is talking like Sam Levitt's going to start this weekend and be back. Texas Tech is not doing the same thing. Now, is that gamesmanship? Is that keep them guessing? We don't know how serious the leg injury is. But this is an interesting dynamic here, right? Because you had Utah last week at Utah and Arizona State, for whatever reason, we've talked about it, kept Sam Levitt out of that game. If you're Texas Tech with Arizona State, you can kind of look at it as, is this a game that you can drop or a game you can go with the backup quarterback, try to win it, or do they go out there, risk more injury, depending on how bad it is, or do you let him heal up? It's going to be an interesting question here. Now, Texas Tech wants to win this game. There's no doubt about it. They're not going to punt on it, or anything to that effect. But you can drop a game in the deal and still make the, of course, Big 12 championship game at the end of the season. So it's going to be fascinating to watch the quarterback situation on the Texas Tech side, how it works out. I did look this morning on if there was any further updates. I saw all this stuff yesterday and everything. No, it's always the same rules, in terms of who's coming out, just day to day. How's he practicing? He's throwing the ball a little bit, but not moving around a lot. It is Morton for Texas Tech has actually come out of football games. Sometimes because of scores, sometimes because dinged up 3 times this year on top of it. Now scores was a lot of it. They want to protect him, obviously, and stuff like that. But, when you go out in the second quarter, that's a serious injury if you can't come into it. When that happens, I tend to lean towards you're more likely not to play the next Saturday if you missed half the game the last Saturday. Because if it's that close, does a week change that healing process? I don't know. Maybe it does, but it'll be interesting to see here how this works out. But generally, if you go out in the fourth quarter, it's a different story. Maybe they're just taking you out to protect you. But in the second quarter, I tend to lean on the side of it's a serious injury and something to pay attention to. In terms of that side out there. So that's the updates on the Arizona State's injuries. In terms of the Cardinals, they just did a walkthrough yesterday. No practice or anything. And Kyler Murray was limited in that walkthrough practice. So I told you guys my feelings. If I was the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett starts this Sunday against the Packers. You bring Kyler Murray back, which that is their intention. Kyler Murray is going to be back as the starting quarterback with this team. You bring him back after the bye. You give Kyler Murray 2 more weeks off, this week with the Packers, next week with the bye, and you bring him back Monday night against Dallas. that foot will be mostly healed at that point. You don't have to worry about re-injuring it. You don't have to worry about making it worse. And you get your full quarterback back at that time. That's how I would play it. We'll have to wait and see on the Cardinals on if they announce it early, if they wait. Kind of like what they did last week where, the rumors came out Saturday night that Jacoby was probably going to play. If you followed the practice last week, you knew Jacoby was going to play in that game. So it's something to pay attention to coming up here. Because Jonathan Gannon keeps saying, hey, if he's healthy, he's going to play. And I firmly believe they feel that way, and I firmly believe that's going to happen. But if you're still limited in practice and it was a Wednesday and it was only a walkthrough, and you didn't do a whole bunch, that tells you they're leaning probably towards another Jacoby Brissett start from that perspective. A little bit more murky there with the Cardinals, of course, as we go forward here in the season. So a lot of fun stuff happening around town, and even last night, Major League Baseball, right? We got Luke coming up here at the top of the hour, and interesting things afoot here. Road teams galore winning a big here in the ALCS. Of course, last night, Toronto came back and won that game big last night in Seattle. So where's the home field advantage for these teams is kind of the question that you got out there. Now, today's Thursday. Means you got both games on the slate today. You got both games on the slate tomorrow as well for Major League Baseball. Does one of these series get wrapped up in that time frame, or do they stay alive, right? So today, Thursday, Milwaukee at Los Angeles. That's the early game here. 3:08 p.m., it looks like, is the starting time for that. Of course, both teams are West Coast, by the way. At Los Angeles. Early afternoon. It is a 3. I had to double check. My eyes are so bad today. 3:08. I was like, is that a 5 or 3? I'm pretty sure that's a 3. Los Angeles crowds traditionally don't show up to these games on time. They're late. Playoff atmosphere, they show up. What's that crowd going to be like at 3:08 going into this game? I don't know if it matters necessarily. Milwaukee, who's starting for them? We do know Tyler Glasnow is starting for the Dodgers today going to this game. And then you got Toronto at Seattle tonight. 5:05, it looks like 5:08 today. Max Scherzer getting his playoff start here today in Toronto coming up. So a good baseball day if you're a baseball fan. Of course, we got NFL tonight we'll talk about with Lou as well. But 2 baseball games today, 2 baseball games tomorrow are going to come up here because they all got to go on. And I'm all for more playoff baseball. It's just fun to watch. It's fun to pay attention to and all of that. So I'd like this to go as long as possible. Nobody wants to see sweeps. And I do like the aspect of road teams winning these games. Now, of course, we'll have to see if Milwaukee can win it. And I think when you're on the road, especially if you're down 0-2 in these series, like Toronto was yesterday, you go into the game a little bit more relaxed. You don't have all the home distractions in a high-level playoff game. You don't have all the media talking to you. You don't have all the people, your friends and family asking for tickets. You don't, getting to the ballpark's different. Get away from the home field noise and get on the road. Opens it up. We saw that last night with Toronto. Do we see that today for Milwaukee is the question here as that game is coming up. 2 games coming up later today as well. So I tell you what, let's take our break. Come on back. Top of the hour. Uncle Lou's here as well. We'll talk UFC last week, UFC this week, NFL talk as well. And I'll ask him his thoughts on the baseball real quick. See if he has any from his buddies that do the baseball stuff out there as well. I don't know. Throwing it out. Better start texting, Lou. Come on back, guys. It's the main event. And we're back here. Second hour main event Thursdays. Look at this. Uncle Lou looking spiffy today.
No, I just think that top button needs to be buttoned because it's just, I'm not that guy.
looks all uptight over there now with it up there. Lou, it's Thursday. UFC's rambling. Few more fights, I guess. What, a month, five more fights or so till the end of the season? I guess the beginning of December, I guess.
So we go all through November. I want to say there's 7 or 8 total cards left.
Okay.
You could go to UFC and
I know.
and see.
I could count them, but I have to use my fingers.
6 to 8, let's call it like that, which is interesting because then the format changes next year into the Paramount where there's no pay-per-view. Yep. I know you'll like that.
I'm looking forward to that.
Who's not going to like that? So I think I already have Paramount, by the way, and if I don't, then I just buy it. It's cheaper than
it's
one
cheap.
It's
It's way cheaper than a pay-per-view per month.
So good for them, and good. That's all good. I'm not the biggest on going over results, especially when I had another stinky week like I did last week. But we always do go over our UFC
we go over
results.
the big fights, or if it's controversial things happen.
Well, no, I
want
to talk about the one. I don't know. I don't have the fights in front of me.
Which one do you want?
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about the ones that I missed.
Okay.
Because I don't think I got clobbered in any. Did I? Did I just get steamrolled in any?
No, I don't think so, because that stands out to me when it happens, because it is kind of rare. You had Oliveira in the main card, right?
No, I had
Gamrot.
I'm sorry,
you had Gamrot.
Yes,
you had the main
good.
fight.
So there's the main event. We can start with that.
Second round submission there for Oliveira. So that was my one I wanted to ask you about. Gamrot, disappointing in this fight or just bad matchup?
Oh no, I think that's a pretty good miss on my part, and I've had some of those this year. Gamrot is a world-class wrestler. But I can't throw the blanket. Just because he is, I probably should have checked his situation better. But I liked his situation. I really don't know how I can explain especially missing that big. But domination was what Oliveira did. He was in front of his people. He had a lot of things going for him. A lot of good other voices that I respect were on Oliveira as well, and so that's one miss. The co-main event,
Montel Jackson and Figueiredo,
and actually that was the one that we hit. So I get to throw a
round
feather
3
in my cap.
split decision. Basically, Montel Jackson ended up losing that fight.
He didn't do enough. He stood there, looked like a statue. At least Figueiredo in his home was kind of trying. At least he tried for 2 rounds, won the first 2. Then he kind of knew he had it, I think. Anyway, be that as it may, Figgy was plus 245 or so.
Yeah.
So that helped us in balance because we lost with Gamrot.
I had Figgy at plus 280, by the way.
Yeah,
last week,
you had him that?
Yeah, that's what
high?
I got him at on Thursday.
You got him
after
better
the
than
show.
us.
So yeah, after the show, I went.
It's all about it's a big 40 cents right there too, baby. All right, so then I'm past last week's card.
Oh no, you're fine.
So,
just the other one. I mean, Carpenter, right? Carpenter was the MMA lab guy, right? Clayton
Carpenter's
Carpenter.
our lad. That was a 2-unit loss, and I rarely invest in 2 units. So right now, I would tell listeners we're going to talk about this week's card. Maybe go after me with a grain of salt because I've been cold for 2 cards, and I'm coming to the end of the year, and I really want to make a run because I have Aspinall to be the heavyweight champ at the end of this year. Yes. There's a total of about 5 units on him. And so if I can hit that and win a couple cards, I'm going to be really close to breaking even on the year. And when you break even and you don't lose, you don't lose. However,
Absolutely.
I spend a ton of time doing this. So you got to, I'm not getting paid for my time.
It'd be nice to make something, right?
But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I'm coming to the end of the year. I just want to try and I'm down. I want to cut a few losses, maybe go into next year with a couple unit profit. Let's say there's 6 cards left. I win a unit each card plus the Aspinall. That's 11 units. That can cover a lot of ground.
Absolutely. So, let me ask you just to finish up. I'm Clayton Carpenter, MMA lab kid, submitted in the first round, 442 left, or 442 into the round, I guess I should say. For that side, he trains here, a lab you're familiar with here. just your overall impression on Carpenter. Just, again, bad matchup or just not coming in prepared.
Oh no, I think they're totally prepared. I don't have a problem with that, and I don't know that I could ever be in a position where I would throw any shade or commentary
You're
on the
not
lab.
me, I know.
No, I can't because I've learned everything from them.
Yes.
And so
Well, yeah, not prepared's not the right word. Sometimes you have bad matchups, and sometimes
I think
you
he's
come in not as prepared as you should.
he's
be. I don't know how you wanna
really
phrase
young.
that. Yeah.
He's never lost.
Yeah.
Now he has 2 straight losses.
Yeah.
I think in any athlete's time, any of us that played team sports and competed, you get to the point where you're challenged and you can curl up and go home, or you can stay there until you kick the door in and win. And I believe that will be the reaction from the young man. I mean, I haven't talked to anybody or gone up to any practices yet because it was just last week, but I know they're disappointed. But how do we manifest that disappointment and what comes next? That's really what I
comes
have
out
to
on the
do
other
too,
side.
because I went down swinging with him.
Right.
And that was also like the Oliveira and Gamrot fight, relatively one-sided, and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist, the world-class BJJ person, dominated the wrestler in not one but both of those cases.
Yeah. And isn't the Brazilian BJJ fight, isn't their kryptonite, isn't it wrestling? Or am
It's
I
supposed to
confusing
be,
that? Yeah,
and that's
so
how
they
I
went and
bet it, but
dominated.
it didn't look like it on Saturday night to me.
The interesting thing about the card last week that I noticed, and I didn't watch all the fights. I watched some of them, and I didn't go back and watch it. A lot, and you rarely see this. A lot of, other than the main event, which was a bonus one, performance of the night for the USC. There, all the other ones were undercard fights in this.
Excuse me, to run that by?
The performance of the nights, the bonus fights were all undercard fights except for the main event for the
okay.
bonus side. Is that just, hey, things happen, or are we starting to see some differences? 'Cause I went back to a few other fights. A lot of main event fights get bonused, and this one was a little bit different. Is this a scheduling thing? Now, this was in Brazil, so I don't know. Is there any questions on that they're changing the scheduling on this? Or is it just so happened the better fights were in the earlier ones or whatever? I really enjoyed that Petrino Peterson heavyweight bout fight. Ended up being a knockout. I think it was round 3, if I remember correctly.
From
that fight,
knockout.
that big boys just going at
boys.
it. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Yes.
Normally heavyweights are just kind of too slow for me, and they're powerful and
These
stuff.
guys
but-
were each willing.
Yes, they were just going. And I'm surprised it went 3 rounds, to be honest with you. Somebody didn't cave earlier. From that, Petrino got that fight. I just noticed that, and I noticed it, and so I went back and looked, and a lot of undercard fights here in this one, which tells you those were the quote-unquote better fights.
Yeah, I mean,
in
that's all.
UFC's
That's
eyes.
all that Dana. That's what
Yeah.
he decides who gets what and when and how. And so I can't. If I tried to predict that, I'd lose my mind.
Now, that was in Brazil last week.
Was in Brazil.
Before we get into this week's fighting here coming
In
up.
Vancouver.
Vancouver. International here these last 2 weeks coming up here. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Yes.
The reason why is because when we go international, we had 100 and something people tune into the show last week, our podcast version of the show. And specifically to our second hour with you on here, obviously fight in Brazil. So when we go international, we do get that stuff. So introduce people to you, how they can find you and all that good stuff.
Well, my name is Lou Finicaro. My entity is Gamblu. I've been making opinions on select sporting events for profit since I was in diapers. My people, when I grew up, all taught me that's what I do and did, and I don't have to hide from it anymore. I can actually be out there and transparent and do it, and I do it through a vehicle that's a web page, and that's gamblu.com, and you can go there at any time and find out everything about me. You'll see on the top band mission statement, testimonials, the sports I work. I only work for the membership options. Up until this year, I've taken memberships. That's going to change in 2026, and we'll eventually talk about that. But everything you want to know about me is in that top band. But most importantly, and that is that our proceeds for the last 2 years, 16% of gross proceeds have gone to the San Xavier mission. And as long as the GambLou webpage is up and functioning, the San Xavier mission, which is the oldest mission in not only the United States, obviously in Arizona as well, just south of Tucson. They're doing great work there. They deserve the recognition. They're indigenous to our state and me since I've been in college. And there's a direct link right there in the red that you could go straight to the mission if you want to find out more about it. So that's kind of a passion of ours. Besides trying to pick winners, we try and also recognize what great work they're doing at the mission. And thanks, Steve, for letting me mention that.
Absolutely, and especially the way the economy in the United States is kind of going right now in terms of the economic side. Everybody nedes help right now, so definitely appreciate
it's tough out there
from that side. Absolutely. So so last week's in the books. Just had a few questions there, and this week, Vancouver, like you said, it's a 4 p.m. main card here coming up. And you have your blog up on your website as well here coming up here. Vancouver, obviously close to Seattle, so it's not too far out of the United States. Do they get a lot of United States fans crossing over, or does that area have a lot of UFC fans up there in Vancouver? Are they rabid?
I mean, each week they travel, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
You'll ask me and everything, and my answer's almost always the same. There's really not a place where they sit on their hands and don't like fighting. It's a
I just don't see Vancouver as like a big. I've been there multiple times, and it's like a laid back kind of whatever environment. The ski resorts up there,
Canada,
and it's just different.
Canada's fans are as bloodthirsty as the Brazilians, and you'll see it if you watched last week and then watch this week. You'll hardly recognize a difference, even in Vancouver, which is such a cosmopolitan, cool,
yes, that's what I'm getting at.
Urban town.
Yeah, Vancouver's different.
And I think I've thought about it for long and hard because I've been doing this a long time, and I was always surprised. Maybe it's all the way back to GSP because he was such a great champion and such, but I think it's before that, and I think it's more intrinsic to north of the border because my theorem is hockey. I mean, they fight in hockey, and hockey's a fast, violent, passionate sport. Yeah. And for me, I think that's how I equate the two. And so if you can imagine being at a killer hockey game in Canada, that's what you'll be at watching these fights from whether it's Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, or Calgary for that matter.
And big ring in this fight as well when they travel for this side. So it'll be interesting to see what's up there. So check out 30-foot octagon this weekend. As the big one there as well. So, even here in your blog, it says the crowd's as passionate as any in the world.
They are. And
I just don't think of Vancouver that way. I think of Montreal. I think of, not Montreal. I think of, Calgary that way. I think of Vancouver that way. It just, I think
Toronto, you mean?
Toronto, yeah. I think a lot of Vancouver
No, just because I've never been there, but I've been to Seattle a couple times, and I can't get. Outside the politics, I love Seattle.
I'm sorry, Vancouver. Don't hate me.
It's a beautiful. Everyone
place.
in Seattle. You know what they talked about when I was going to Vancouver? How cool it was. So there's that.
No, Vancouver's a beautiful place.
Anyway, it's a passionate set of hockey and fight fans.
I got to dig out of this hole now.
I worked the hockey game too, so
Canadians already don't like me out there, and now we.
So anyway, we're getting back to the fact that if there were a bunch of people from Brazil and other places that tuned into the show last week, that needs to be addressed, and because we're totally flattered at that. And if that's the case this week, and more north with Canada and other, all you folks listening in, thank you. I appreciate that. I do it for this, and we're going to start hitting them like wildfire, so stay with me.
Absolutely. So this week, Rogers Center, or Rogers Arena, I should say, up there in Vancouver, Canada, 4 p.m. main card. So that means about 1:15, the prelims.
Yeah, nice
will
and
go
early
off this weekend. Yeah, and I do. I'm not going to lie to you. I like these early start times compared to those 7 p.m. main cards. It gets done early, right? Gets done about 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Well, you're watching.
We move on. Well, that's the problem.
Are you watching football and fights at the same time?
And that's why I like it better.
That's legal, but now you got baseball in there.
Yeah, the baseball.
So I got to
players.
have a Cyclops to get that third eye.
Yeah, and I'll ask you about baseball here and your
Please.
thoughts here as we after we go through this here. But this weekend, of course, I look at the prelims. Anybody that knows this show and watches it, I'm just not a big guy on UFC. Got into it in the last couple years with Lou coming on the program. Other than Bruno Silva here in terms of the prelim side, and maybe Davey Grant, I don't know. I do recognize Hyun-Sung Park, who's going up against Bruno Silva.
Dober.
But I don't know any of these. Oh, Dober I recognize as well.
Yeah, you got
but other than that, tell us if there's any other fights that we should pay attention to, or just go ahead and start with the Dober fight.
Well, we got 13 of them, so we're going to talk about a few.
Yep.
And 4 of them are big boy fights, 170-pound men or bigger, which is good because that's where the violence occurs. And what's great is the more they get to these big cities, the more they use the 30-foot cage, the more that becomes the standard again. It was not the standard when COVID hit and they had to go into the Apex that uses the smaller one. So it gets redundant each week. We talk about the 30-foot cage because it used to matter. It's mattering less and less. Only in the Apex do they use the small one. Anyway, we're back to a bunch of Canadians on the card, of course. And we have not a bunch of we have 3 6-year age differences, 1 10-year age difference. We usually try and track that. 7 Canadians on the card, so it's kind of a Canada against. And let's start early. We'll go to the first card. We bring in a Brazilian fighter in Lisboa at a bantamweight, 135, fighting a debuter. And the only reason I mentioned the debuter, her name is Croden, because she's a Canadian, and her nickname is Scare. So it's Scare Croden. I mean, I now that's some creativity. Now in the fight, she's going to be bigger, larger, longer, and she went from a huge dog to a teeny dog. I'm fascinated.
No, she's a minus 122 favorite.
So they bet her all the way into favoritehood.
When you said she was a dog, I was like, she's a 122 favorite, Lou.
She opened plus 235. So there's been a parade on the Scarecrow. So the only way now that I could bet this would be to take Lisboa, but I can't because I want to see Scarecrow fight and see what it is. And there's 12 other fights on the card that we can bet. So there's that one. Next, let's go to Kyle Nelson and Matt the Steamroller Frivola. He is out of the Longo Weidman gym. And Ray Longo's the guy who is a gem. And he is the guy that's on the Anik and Florian podcast. And if you haven't listened to that, I'd steer you there. I mean, everybody's listened to it. They're the kings. Anyway, he comes from this gym, and he is going to go out there and knock you out, or he's going to go out there and get knocked out. And they give him an opponent that is just like looking in the mirror to him, but he's a Canadian. His name's Kyle Nelson. So Nelson actually is moving into 155 from 145. He was fighting his cuts terrible to make 145. This will be his first fight into 55. So that's a little bit of an adjustment. He's the Canadian. This fight has been kind of pick 'em or close the whole time, but Nelson opened a little favorite. The money's come in on the steamroller. What's he, minus 135?
Minus 122 on DraftKings right now.
Okay, so that's pretty close to a pick, and not.
That's big movement though. If Nelson was the fave, you said it.
I think I've talked to a couple guys that all like Frivola. I mean, I found myself in that position too many times. But here's what I won't do: start thinking that I'll go follow. No, I'm gonna lose on my own. And I like Kyle Nelson in this fight. I think he's the one I think that's going to be able to chin Frivola. But you're going to have Rock'em Sock'em robots on your hands. Don't miss this fight, people. That's the one thing. The last few weeks that I've told you what fights to watch, at least I've been right about those ones.
You have been. They've been fun fights to watch.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're gonna side with Nelson here. I just wish I could have got him as a. He is a dog.
Yeah, plus
he's
102.
an underdog. So now let's do this. Let's hurry up and wait, and not hurry and bet him. Let's see if it keeps going up. Let him keep betting the steamroller and either guy being a minus 130 to the other, I don't have a problem with because I think that's how close this fight's going to be. It's going to be awesome. Okay, now let's move to another one. And I mentioned his name. You've seen Drew Dober fight.
Yes, I have. Yeah, now that I see his picture, I know.
Oh,
he
yeah,
looks
real-
like he looks like a prototypical German guy.
He's
Or
well, he's
Russian
like
fighter.
or
But he's
just
American.
He's a square chin.
That's what I
He
mean.
looks like a model, really.
Yeah,
The
it's
guy's
think
chiseled.
who was the guy in Rocky 3, the Russian guy?
Yeah,
He
that's
looks like-
right,
he
Drago.
He looks like that. But he's an
Drago.
American. Yes.
So he is an American, but he's 37 and he's taken he's gotten KO'd the last couple times. He's fought only warriors. Of course, he has experience and level of competition way over Prepolek, the Canadian guy they have standing in there for him. But Prepolek is over in the UFC. He's never been KO'd. I think he's live. I think he's live to give a good performance. What we do know from Dober is he's there to throw down. So he's going to be all about, come on, let's do it. And if Prepolek can use his 2-inch height advantage and the left hand a little bit, I think he stands a decent chance. I'm not as I'm strong on Nelson, and I lean to Prepolek a little bit. And then finally,
Well, really quick, because
Yes,
you
sir.
said Propolek's never been knocked out.
yeah,
We said that about one of the guys 2 weeks ago. The Lee Summit or whatever his name was, guy
And
never
he
been
had
knocked
been
out.
knocked out?
and he never had been and got knocked out in
oh,
that fight
okay.
early.
So maybe I should quit saying that.
Well,
to
no,
guys.
the only reason I ask is because over/under on this 1.5 minus 188 to the over, and that's because people obviously aren't expecting him to get knocked out. Correct in this fight,
aren't expecting who to get.
Prepolek if he's never been knocked out.
Well, I think that's why I'm seeing 2.5 over minus 140.
Yeah, DraftKings right now over 1.5 minus 188.
Okay, so I like the
Yeah.
over a lot because I think Prepolek can show for himself.
Okay, that's the
and-
only reason I was asking. With that over number. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I lean to the over there.
Sorry,
I
didn't
think
mean to interrupt you.
Prepolek is live. However you want to
Okay.
try and manifest that. And then the last, the humdinger is Charles Jourdain against Davy Grant at bantamweight 135. Now Jourdain once fought at 55. He was getting clobbered by big guys that weighed 172 the day of the fight, so he went to 145. Now he's going down 135, and he's fighting a guy, a natural 135er in Davy Grant. Grant's 39, Jourdain the Canadian 29. Jourdain a little bit taller, about the same reach, and Grant opens plus 170. Now he's plus 145.
140. Yeah.
140.
On
Okay,
DraftKings.
I wrote this fight up for VSiN, and it's on the webpage. And so I took Grant, but his price early in the week was a little higher than that. I think Grant at plus money is a real opportunity because of how he's fought. I'm not going to worry about his age here. This will be speed, quickness, precision, Jourdain, against more of a forward pressing, aggressive power striker in Grant. And if Jourdain can keep his distance and paint his fence from outside for 3 full rounds, and Grant can't catch up to him, that's his recipe, I think, for success. But Grant, I think, will eventually be able to corner him and initiate some battle. And I think Jourdain's going to eventually have to battle a little bit. The total in this fight, I see 2.5 over minus like 250.
Minus 200 on DraftKings right
Minus
now.
200. So it's okay. It's come down just a little bit. I think if it's come down, I think it leans to Grant. But I easily see a decision. And if it is a decision, I'm a little nervous because Grant's the Englishman
Yeah.
and Jourdain's the Canadian. That said, I've already released Grant. I think he's the better mixed martial artist here. And that covers most of the prelims, I think.
Yep, absolutely. In terms of especially the ones that I know, I just want to point out you made fun of me on Look Biloo a couple weeks ago, and you brought up the women's bantamweight fight first today. So I just want to point that out.
There we
to
go.
everybody.
See? He
I'm
says
shocked.
I'm not going to do it, but I'll let you do it.
I'm just shocked on that one with
It was
Cronin that
all
she
name.
flipped. I
It was
know.
all
It was-
like if the last if the
it was
girl's
just a
name
name,
was
yeah.
well, that's a bad
If
example.
her last name was Smith, I wouldn't have paid attention to it. It's just that Look Me Now. We had talked about her
Scare
before,
Cronin.
right? So, absolutely. And then, so let's get into the main site here. We have a Chinese fighter here. I'm just going to call him A, against Cody Gibson here in a bantamweight bout in the main event here. I mean, Good luck saying that name.
Yeah, Iori Quilang. He's a good, solid UFC fighter. Gibson, a journeyman. Gibson, 38, but 3 inches taller and 2 inches longer, despite the fact that he's 6 years older. U.S. versus Canada here. Quilang opens 170. He's now the underdog. I think I agree with that. I think Gibson should not have been an underdog against him based on his experience. That said, he's well older. Not a fight that I'm overly thrilled at viewing along with Park or Bruno Silva. That's going to be, I think, a one very, very one-sided fight.
Yeah, the Silver one, at least in terms of what the odds say and stuff like that, it looks like that's going to be. I don't think that's unexpected, right? With Silva.
Well, we're going to see what Park's made of, because when we last saw Park, we put him in with Tyra, and he wasn't up to the task. So now they're bringing him down a notch, and they're giving him a guy he should be able to handle. Interesting thing, Brazil and Korea, I mean, that's a lot of travel for each camp.
Well, it's a long way to go. Going farther north than Las Vegas, of course, where they normally would go there. There's a women's flyweight bout on the main card here. Anything to watch in this one here with Jusa Vicious and Ferrat?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I totally overlooked that. That's
right.
a whale of a fight. Jazz Javicius is a Canadian gal. She's going to have the crowd on her side. She's going to need to wrestle up Firo because she can't stand and strike with her. Firo is from France. She's mean. She's strong. She's fought for the title. She's probably the number one contender. And I think that she's just going to be too much for Jazz. Unfortunately, 135, 136, meaning that they're 35 and 36 years old. So I think it's Firo that'll emerge victorious. Total in this fight, 2.5 over minus 337.
425 right now on
right.
DraftKings.
So they're saying that Jazz is not going to be. That number says Jazz is not going to be able to take Firo down, and I believe that will be the case. I think Firo's too big and too structured for her.
Yeah, and it's that's why I brought it up, because I knew I was reading the other day about.
I was about to give you heat for bringing up a flyweight female fight, but you brought up a fight. I mean,
I was hesitant to do it, Lou.
It deserves to be on the main card.
Well, only reason I brought it up and focused on it, because I'm like a beaten dog now. I'm like afraid to bring him up here, Lou. But
you just want to hear me say Jazz's name.
Yeah, I wanted to see you say that. First of all, thank God their names aren't on the back of their jerseys, because
you wouldn't be able to fit that one.
But second of all, I've been reading all week about the contrast in this fight, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. For the
Great
wrestling
contrast, striker, wrestler, really. I mean, Jazz can't strike with her, but I don't know that Firo, if she gets down below Jazz, it could have some trouble getting up. So I'll give Jazz hers. I just don't. There's a difference in the amount of world-class competition each has faced. This will go a long way in thrusting Jasmine forward, but she's 35, 36 years old. You run out of time.
Yeah, you don't have much time at that age, right? Marlon Vera and against Zahabi.
Yeah, we know the Vera name. He's fought all the greats: Davalishvili, O'Malley, Cruz. We could go on and on and on, but he's still fighting, and he's a pitter-patter guy, not a lot of power, but he'll kick you in the teeth. He's a high-volume guy. He's got great cardio. He's tough as nails, and they put him in there against this Zahabi, who I've made a lot of money on Zahabi in my career. And this Zahabi's got great wrestling, really good feet, deft boxing, fights for his brother out of TriStar in Montreal. That's the Georges St-Pierre gym. He's the brother of the owner. Anyway, this Zahabi on his own has done well his last 3 or 4 fights. I think we've had him almost every time, and he's a short, at 37 years old, favorite over Vera. And
minus 125.
Minus 125. That's a short favorite. And so, and it's in Canada, and you got a high 2.5 total with a high total. It's probably going to decision. So everything's leaning to home cooking. That said, the last Zahabi fight was against Jose Aldo, and he got a little home cooking in that fight. So could the thing boomerang? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it. But this much hesitation on a guy that I've made a lot of money on, Zahabi, tells me that I should be looking pretty good at Vera, and I think I am.
Yeah, over 2.5, by the way, is minus 375.
They're going to a
Going to
decision.
the decision, and then like you said, Ecuador, Canada. I don't think there's a lot of hatred there, but you could see that some judges leaning that way if it's close.
Well, Vera fights like he hates the opponent. Zahabi's more clinical.
Okay, so that's a different style of fighting as we've seen over the last.
No,
couple
this will
weeks.
be a great. This will be a great fight.
That's what I mean. Those two styles, yeah. One. I'm gonna use the term angry, and one,
Oh no, yeah, one
more,
raging, and
yeah.
one like Duran, and the other guy like Sugar. Although not,
Exactly.
the one like Sugar won't always have to stay outside because when
Oh, okay.
Duran or Vera lunges, he can go right into wrestling where Vera's out of his game. So there's a lot to consider
Oh.
with that Zahabi.
Okay. With the Vera side, Vera, by the way, plus 105 in that. Zahabi is minus 125 right now on that fight. Then we got the co-main event: Kevin Holland, Mike Malott here. Kevin Holland being the American, Malott being the Canadian here coming into this fight. Here's the co-main event: welterweight, by the way.
Malott opens minus 150. He's shorter than that now.
Minus 118.
yeah.
They're both on the negative side, both of these fighters.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
there's money come in on Holland, and that's because he's more athletic, he's faster, he's well more skilled and athletic, he's longer, he's taller, and I also think that he is a year younger. And so, all that being said, Malott has been set up before in Canada and has kind of fallen short. And while Holland's all those things, this might be his 5th or 6th fight of the year. He's kind of a yapper, and he's wildly inconsistent to try and predict how he'll show up. Is he coming to just get paid, or is he really coming to try and win a fight? The good news is he fights between two different weight classes, and he doesn't do well at 85 because the guys are bigger and can take him down and dominate him. But it's 170. He's the bigger guy, fast, strong, skilled, and can move. And he's live against Mike Malott in this fight.
The interesting thing here, knockout potential or some more of a submission type potential in this fight, because the over under is 2.5, minus 175 to the under right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, Holland has subbed and knocked people out, and he could sub or knock Malott out, and Malott could finish him some way as well. So I wish I could give you a better.
I
thought
was just asking you. Obviously, Vegas is telling us there's a possibility.
That's another
of it.
good fight to watch. I mean, that's like 5-6 really good fights on this card right now, and then you also get surprised by one or two. So.
Absolutely. And by the way, Holland's minus 102 right now on DraftKings, which we use here on the program for UFC. And then Malott's minus 118
So
as
if
well.
you shop, you can find
Yeah.
Holland plus money.
Yeah, I
But
bet
don't
you
wait around too long because it's probably going to continue to go.
it's going to move at some point.
I don't know. I don't know. I think Saturday comes and the Canadians are going to get involved and they're going to puke all over the Canadian fighters.
Well, that's what's interesting about this as we talk. We pay attention to how the lines move. We normally don't see huge line movement. We do see it occasionally. But this is, 3 or 4 fights now where we've seen huge line movements during the week on these fighters. Obviously it happens a lot as you lead into Saturday and stuff as people pay more attention to it. So fascinating to see that here.
And
coming
that's
up on
because
this.
first of all, if you're in the NFL market, you can't compare the UFC market to the NFL market in any way. So in the UFC market on a Tuesday, a $300 bet can move lines.
Okay.
So understand how these markets are
Okay.
subtly different, and don't get so choked up
wow.
over early line movement. Understand where it's going and what it's doing, because it could be indicative of sharper action, earlier
Yes.
action. But I would say no, that come Friday night and Saturday after the weigh-ins to Saturday, at noon, you'll see some of these fights being bet, and that'll be public money.
I always log in about an hour before the prelims start just to see from when we talk on Thursday what the lines have done and where people are going. It's fascinating.
So do you
sometimes.
record what the lines
I don't
were?
write them down, but I have like what we're talking about here. I write them down,
and you can see it
and then I
does
see the
change.
difference. I don't track it like
Oh,
you
yeah,
do.
no,
I probably
tracked it.
should.
I tracked the bejeebies
I
out
probably
of it,
should have a spreadsheet or something to help out. But it's more of like, where's the money going? Kind of your philosophy.
Well,
going into this
that's a
and stuff,
different
so,
resource.
yeah.
You can go to betting splits and see how much money in tickets is there on Fighter X, and therefore how much money in actual dollars. You could have a guy that has 10% of the tickets and 65% of the money. What does that mean? That means about 4 guys vomited on that dude.
A lot of guys put somebody's getting divorced and is trying to hide money. That's what
Something,
that means.
something going on there.
Then you got the main event, Renier de Ridder, which we've seen multiple times, and Brendan Allen as well. Netherlands versus Canada here in this main event here from Vancouver.
Yeah.
On Saturday night,
You know,
welterweight.
Allen is
middleweight.
from the swamps of Florida. He has family from Canada, so he's going to try and garner all he can. He is a fighter that specializes in grappling, and he's really, really good at it. He's deft at it. But he's a UFC fighter, so he mixes it all up, and he doesn't have formal education or formal fight background, but he's been a scrapper all his life. He's made it to the UFC. He's fought for belts or to fight for belts. His specialty is grappling. He's gotten better on the feet, but he just loses to world class. And so now you go to de Ridder. This will be his 5th UFC fight, so he's very inexperienced. Hasn't been in with the kind of fighter that Allen has been in with. However, he fought and competed in grappling and judo in Sweden and such in the world championships at 205 pounds. So he makes weight at 185. And then by the time he goes into the cage, not only is he going to be the 2 inches taller fighter with a 4-inch reach advantage, he's going to weigh 15 pounds more than Allen's going to weigh. And he's a world-class judo Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. He's learning striking. The good news for Allen is that in this fight, he'll be the more capable striker. And I believe it's in his best interest to go out and try and keep it on the feet and make de Ridder strike with him. If he can't do that and he gets cocky or he thinks he can grapple and use his expertise against the world-class expertise of a bigger, larger man, he's going to err. And he's done it before when he chose to stand up and fight with Sean Strickland, former champion, and he just got the absolute eyebrows knocked off of him. So he has a tendency to make mental errors. I just don't view him as the world-class athlete that this de Ridder is based on his size and expertise and the style that Allen's bringing. Now, when this fight hits the floor and these guys start to roll, and I hope it does, it'll be fascinating to watch.
Interesting enough, as I look here, right, on your blog, you have de Ridder here minus 195. He's basically there still, minus 198 for him from when you wrote this up. But then you also say total in the fights 3.5, and the over is plus 105 right now. The under is minus 135 here. Just the way you describe that, and then I see here in your blog you have lean over on this one. Is that because you see them kind of getting on the ground and I'm going to say waste time? That's not the proper term I'm looking for. But instead of the striking side of things?
I think they're evenly matched based on who Allen's fought against, and it's not going to be easy for de Ridder to get rid of him.
Perfect. So, there you go. And that's why, folks, you log into Gamblu.com and read his blog.
You get strong opinions, and then and the good news is out there in the cyber world, there's all kinds of opinions. They'll tell you what's going on in this, that, and you can balance them off.
I wanted to look it up because you released Grant in the blog there. And, right now we have Grant at plus 140. And you said you got it at a better number, just about the fairness for everybody. You got it at plus 165 is what's in
at the
blog,
time I
so
published this
that's what I mean.
article Tuesday morning, that's what the price was.
That's what I'm
and
getting at. So you can see where it's moved, but it's still that plus 140.
And usually on the webpage and with clients of the About Business podcast, we're way ahead of pricing when the closing line falls, which is part of the battle. We do a great job with that. We just got to get our fighters to do a better job of winning some of the fights. And let's not forget, favorites are 65+% this year. It's a pretty high percentage in the UFC, and it's been tough picking dogs.
So Saturday night, 4 p.m. early start there. Of course, this will be on ESPN Plus and the normal sites here. A few more left to go here before we get to Paramount and deal with that side. And and all that fun out there. When we come on back with Lou, we'll get into NFL this week because I'm just at this point throwing my arms up on the NFL. I just don't know what's up and what's down anymore. We'll talk about it with Lou and see if I can get some perspective leading into this weekend. Come on back, folks. And we're back here. Main events. Thursdays mean Uncle Lou. Well, except for next week. You're coming in on Friday next week, I do believe. Correct? Is that next week?
Actually, I was going to ask for a remote on Friday.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. But you'll be on the show Friday instead of Thursday next week.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that so we can warn everyone.
Yes.
I'm going to Las Vegas, and so a little day and a half of business there. I'll travel back sometime Thursday, hopefully before the game starts, but it could be after it's started. Either way, I'll be up and at 'em for Friday because we'll have there's a UFC fight card now for 5-6 straight weeks.
Absolutely.
So I'll have
it's an early fight next week on
stuff to
Saturday. It's someplace else, and I want to say it's a 1 p.m. start time for the main event. I'll look it up here. But yeah, it's an early fight as well on Saturday next week. So
that's UFC 321 from Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yes.
And that one's
11 a.m.
7 a.m. is when the prelims start.
11 a.m.
Oh,
our
baby,
time for
am
the
I
main.
happy about that.
I love. I'm not gonna lie to you. Eat my Cheerios while watching guys battle it out in the ring.
Cheerios and knees to the nose.
So next week, Friday, you'll be joining us remotely, and then just as a side note,
thanks for letting me be flexible like that.
Oh, no worries. Because well, you have to owe me one. Because the next week we'll have to talk about it. I'm probably won't be here on Thursday, so we might have to reschedule that as well. We might have to go dark on that, but so next week we'll have to talk about it again as well. So I appreciate you being flexible as well. Before we get into NFL, just really quick, Major League Baseball road winners here in this round, ALCS, NLCS. Nobody at home has won yet. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you can kind of, when you look, I mean, yesterday I look and I see the Dodgers minus like 119, minus 120. And I didn't really bet regular season baseball, but every time you looked at the Dodgers, they were minus 380.
Yes.
So you can tell me they got a 2-0 lead. They're going to home to
they're going home to Milwaukee.
Now the second
today.
game in Milwaukee, they won the first game.
Yeah.
And you're going to let me take the Dodgers at minus 120? Thank you very much. I mean, what am I missing? Maybe
Dodgers today are only at 175 because you're right. That's the weird thing.
That seems pretty.
But the regular season, they were bigger favorites than that stuff, so it's kind of come down a little bit on them. But they do have the 2-0 lead at Milwaukee going there. Now I'm using on my screen. I have ESPN has ESPN bets attached to it.
Oh,
so
no,
I'm going off of that number.
Uncle Louie going to give you the real deal.
So don't. ESPN bets lines are terrible, but I'm just telling you it's at 175 here coming up. And then at Seattle tonight again after
172. It opened one.
It's at 172 now.
It opened 195.
Yeah.
So that's why it's getting short because there's money coming in on Milwaukee. To me, I don't see that. What's getting in the way of this Dodger team? Now, the only thing I see,
Their bullpen, but you got to get to it before you can
Yeah,
before
right.
you can get through it.
the only thing I see from this vantage point is, should Seattle go on to win, is there enough story and momentum in Seattle to get in the way of the Dodgers? But right now, I mean, what are the Dodgers to win it all? Minus, they bet 2 to 1.
I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at it the last couple of days. I know after they were 2-0, it's skyrocketed on them. You know?
How can it not? I mean,
Yeah.
you look at that team; they haven't had to get to their. I mean, those starting pitch everywhere you go, there's a superstar. Holy
And Tyler
moly.
Glasnow is not a terrible pitcher. He's going to go deep into this game too. You would
Yeah.
think so today. So
I just don't. I see Milwaukee as just the little brother that's trying hard. We'll see. And I have a Seattle Milwaukee meet in the.
do you really?
I do, and it's long. It would be huge. But
actually,
it ain't getting there.
They actually going into the playoffs. I said those are my two teams that are going to get to the World Series. But then the Dodgers are just on a roll right
they're
now.
just
Like
so- they're
nobody
so-
saw the. I mean, you could see the Dodgers doing what they're doing right now because of their talent. They just normally don't do it.
Well, we'll see if they
I
can
know
hold
that,
up
but,
because they look awful
I
strong.
know, and I'm looking forward to seeing Max Scherzer back on the mound. I know he's been on the mound this year, but in terms of a playoff atmosphere for Toronto today, as well on that side, so it'll be a good afternoon
Great
game as
baseball.
well. So.
And how about October, where we can talk UFC, NFL, playoff baseball? And I'll just say this: when there's a football game on and playoff baseball, I got the split screen TV so I can watch both. But if there was one or the other, it would be baseball then going to the NFL. And that's because I think the integrity of the gamble in playoff baseball exceeds that of the NFL. Now, I'm not saying that a Toronto against Arizona game in August has any kind of integrity. No, because I don't know where those Toronto guys are outside of South Scottsdale having a ball the night before the game. I don't know who's coming to play or who's coming off the wagon. But in the playoffs, none of them do any of that. They're there for business. And so I regard the playoff gamble higher than the NFL gamble.
You still have the umpires you have to contend with, though. Some of those umpire calls.
Next year they're going to fix that, and I'm all
goodness.
for it because they've decided that they're more important than the game. So I say,
It's
what?
not just the home
We
plate
love ya.
umpires now, though. It's also the guys in the field making. And you're just like, what are you doing? What are you watching?
We'll just bid you adieu.
I know, right? So baseball today going on there, but obviously NFL's continuing as well here this week. Did you do well last week?
Yeah, this super contest went 3-2, and I'm still 4 games out of first, which is what 21st position or something. Doesn't really
not bad
matter.
for the people in
Nobody
that.
cares in a horse race where you are at the first quarter, and that's about where we are. So really, my thought process is, let me base a bunch of 3-2s together, but I'm not going to catch anybody at 3-2. That's what they're all going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have some good weeks. Wouldn't it be great if I could say, hey, Steve, week 7 and week 9, I'm just going to kill it.
Yeah.
But I've not been able to do that ever.
I say that every week, Lou, and it never comes true.
Yeah, it's
so.
hard to do. So we'll see. Really, all I'm worried about is looking at some teams for this week, and the lines are not out for the contest yet, so I don't really I have those to talk about, but I have look-ahead lines and the lines I'm seeing on this. And what I would say is you said you can't figure the NFL. No, and anyone that says they can figure the NFL is full of baloney. You can't figure the NFL, but you have to count on the fact that you can't. And you got to count on the fact further than that the market can't. And by basically trying to find some everybody positions, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to put yourself in a position to win, and you're also going to nauseate anyone you tell who you're going to bet. Like last week when I pleaded with you, you had to take Arizona. You had to take them.
Yeah.
The reaction was too big. The look-ahead line's 3.5, and it went to 7.5, and that game ended 9 because of no Murray. Look, I mean, it isn't rocket science. You just got to pay attention. And when you see a team this week like Tennessee, it's like, no, there's no way. Are you kidding?
with the new head
Tennessee?
coach?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's who you got. Tennessee, that's who you got to be.
You got the Patriots this week.
Vrabel's old team,
coming
all
in.
that incestuous stuff all over that game. And it's 7.5. Where was the look-ahead line? Well, let's just see. Is there any overreaction in that? Let me see if I can find it.
I didn't even factor in
that's
Vrabel's
BK.
going back home to Tennessee.
No,
Yeah,
you
where he
gotta,
coached.
you gotta, you gotta.
I didn't even factor that in.
Yeah, so New England was 6. Week 7. Okay, and so now what that line is
I'm looking it
is
up
a straight
here.
7 with, I see a minus 13. So 7, we've seen some 7.5s. New England's second road game.
DraftKings right now is 7. Yeah.
And this is Tennessee's first game home after 3 on the road.
Yep. And new head coach, new offensive line coach, and new head coach.
New
here coming
everything
this
in
week.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
So nobody, they're going to laugh you out of the. You found yourself a winner. You go in and tell your friends you're betting Tennessee when they laugh you out of the room. And then you got to bet them. And that's the hard part, putting your money down on a dog meat team like that. And you got to do it. I mean, there might be a few others out there. Carolina and the Jets is a stinky one.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Denver and the Giants is a stinky one. I mean, I think the Giants give Denver all they want and more. While I think Denver's a really good team and a team that is going to say something in the AFC, they just want to win games by 2 or 3
You
points.
see that game last week overseas? That was an ugly game. For the Broncos to
Yeah,
play
they don't
over
put pictures on the scorecard. I mean, that's a
terrible.
W. I mean, think of how they lost a couple. That Indy loss has to still sting them. So anyway, just know that we don't know. If you can find overreaction, I would tell you to take it. And if you can find a game, you can tell all your buddies that you like against that, and they all laugh at you. I'm not saying it's a dead winner. I'm saying you have yourself a candidate for being a winner.
Well, what was the look-ahead line on the Broncos Giants this week? Because right now it's +7. We use FanDuel here in the NFL.
Yeah,
here
I
for
got
this
them all
side.
right here. So FanDuel is okay. That's what we use. So what
Well, we
game
just-
were you asking? Denver?
Giants Broncos.
Yeah, it was Denver 10.
Yeah, so it's come down to because
So
I had
now-
a feeling New York people are betting the Giants is what my theory was.
So
That's
now
obviously
it's-
the case.
It's come down to 7.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this: if that thing goes to 6.5, then that's maybe a signal for Denver. But I will say there's a couple of spots on this card that I think that you can take a look at some unders. I think Vegas and Kansas City it might be a decent under because you're going to have some wind in the Midwest, and Vegas can't score to beat themselves anyway.
No running game. Their
Yeah,
offense is in shambles right now.
That's a tough go. I mean, at least they beat Tennessee, but
The Raiders play the Chiefs well, but in Las Vegas, not in Kansas
I
City.
think that
so-
could be a tight. I think that
Tight
could be
game, though.
tight because weather and wind are going to contribute. But more importantly than wind there is the wind in Cleveland. That well,
Dolphins.
yeah. I mean, I took that at 41 and 40.5 earlier today, and right now
36.5 is
Yeah.
what it's at on FanDuel.
yeah, right now. So the that weather started to be broadcast here a few hours ago, and you can see what's happened. That line's immediately reacted to it's 37.5, 38.5, and I'm sitting at 40.5. So I'm in good. That's part of
Yeah,
the
the good one.
battle to get the best of the number. If the game ends up Miami 42-20, then doesn't matter what the closing value was because that's
Yeah,
a
right.
dead loser.
Let me ask you this: a couple of big games here in the morning. Tonight you got Steelers Bengals. I know Thursday night you tend to not look at.
Yeah, but this is one that I could look at.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Now, my question is: it's in Cincinnati. Joe Flacco, second week here behind the deal. He doesn't move the needle. We talked about that last week. But the Steelers at 4-1, they're complaining about the field. They're complaining about all this extracurricular stuff and everything. Short week going.
Tomlin
to Cincinnati.
complained about the fact that Cleveland
Yes.
would trade somebody in division.
Yes, and it's just a lot of distractions with Pittsburgh, and then it's a short week on top of it. Does that mean anything to you?
I don't think there are distractions in Pittsburgh. I think Tomlin's too good to let that happen, but he did break a little bit when he was, talking about the quarterback
Yes,
thing.
worried about
Listen,
Joe Flacco.
this is division hatred, and these teams have been playing each other for 100 years. And I always say, hey, Yankees and Red Sox, hey, Cubs and Cardinals, hey, Tampa and Florida and hockey. Who gives a hoot what the records are? Take the dog.
5.5
there's hatred
favorite
here.
here for the Steelers for tonight. Going to an over/under 44.5 for tonight as well. If you were looking at this game,
I'd be looking at Cincinnati, and I might be looking at the game, and the only way I go is Cincinnati, especially on that stupid number. Pittsburgh, the record's 4-1. Who've they played,
Yes,
and
that's
what's
the
it
problem.
look like?
I
That's
think
another team wants to win by 1 point.
I think I told you Baltimore's still favored to win that division.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, as of earlier this week, that was the case. I don't know if it's switched now. I want to say it was either Sunday night or Monday morning. Baltimore was still a slight favorite to win that division at that point because they're going to get Lamar back. I'm assuming that's why, but I don't know if it's flipped now. But yeah, that's the problem with the Steelers, right? Going in. So if you are looking at
How's
that,
Lamar
Bengals
fix a
tonight,
defense? I'm
no,
sorry.
that's the problem. I guess you can outscore.
Yeah, I think
The other team?
Cincinnati's very interesting tonight. They're home on a short week. There's nothing going for them, and here comes 4-1 Pittsburgh doing it really with smoke and mirrors. They can't run the ball. Rodgers is maybe. I think you have the threat of Rodgers starting to feel himself and come into himself from this part of the season on, but I haven't seen it yet, and he could easily do that, and they walk away 21-17 tonight, and you cover with Cincinnati at home. I think the only way to consider is
Now, I've
Cincy.
said it the last 2 Thursdays, and I've come close to not winning them. This over/under of 44.5 for tonight's game just seems large to me, based off of, and then you're kind of saying it as well. Steelers they can score a lot of points. They've scored some points this year. Cincinnati, with their offense can do it as well. But just a short week game Thursday night, 44.5 just seems to be a high number, and it's proven to be high last couple.
The look ahead
Thursdays.
was 42.5, so they're betting over on you, and that must be because they think Flacco's going to gel the second week with Cincinnati. That has to be what it is. The look ahead line on Pittsburgh was 3.5, and now it's 5.5. So that's a 2 point. That qualifies for enough of an overreaction, which is why I'm talking about Cincinnati.
Other games this weekend: Rams versus Jaguars coming up here this weekend. Overseas game here. It's the traditional Jaguars and London games here coming up. Rams, I believe they played Baltimore last week, if I remember, but they played somebody on the East Coast, stayed there, flew over from there. So the Rams have not been home for a couple weeks now in terms of L.A. From that perspective, Jaguars coming off of their loss last week, going over there, of course. Does this matter to the Rams not being home and all this travel they're doing going into this game against a revised Rams? Right now, Rams are 3-point favorites.
I'll tell you at 10 a.m. Sunday everything you want to know. Both teams have a bye after this trip, which not all teams are doing. The look ahead was Rams 2.5. It's now 3, ticked up a touch to Rams. I think I agree with that. These are two good, pedigreed, potentially and probably playoff type teams here. Jacksonville's defense shouldn't be underestimated. The Rams are going to be missing some receivers in this game, but that's a competitive
who knows Puka's
game.
standard? What's wrong with Puka right now? He missed that game, came back, kind of hobbling on that. That's a big if he doesn't play for the Rams, that's a big loss.
Oh yeah, no, there's no question. But when I look at it, LA's the more balanced, stronger team. Third offense, fifth defense. Jacksonville 16-16. They're balanced too. They're just not as good on both sides of the ball as LA. So I think LA's the rightful 3-point favorite here. Should watch it. All the travel and the lack of being home for LA could manifest itself, especially since Jacksonville is used to going over there all the time, like you say. And so that could be an edge for Jacksonville here.
Hey, your Bears. I'm gonna call them your Bears since they're winning 3-0 wins right now. They got the Saints at home here as well. I'm curious on if the Chicago fans are just betting the Bears left and right here. Right now, it's a 5.5-point favorite for the Bears going into this game against the Saints. Look ahead line. Are Chicagoans and Bears fans betting the Bears coming up?
No, sharps are betting New Orleans, and because the look ahead was 6.5. And why would they bet New Orleans? Well, that's because Chicago's off a Monday night football game, and it's on a short week. They got to turn it around. Yeah, they're at home, and New Orleans ain't dog meat, and Chicago's now Chicago is gone from being is this coach working? What about the quarterback? Now they're 3-3. Everybody's starting to believe now they come a favorite with all that weight. No, no. I mean this is all, New Orleans for me or pass. Even though, and it's probably passed because it was 6.5. Okay, what's the line now? 5.5.
5.5.
So they've already made their move. We can see sharps like New Orleans a little. I agree with it, but I've lost the number. Probably can't play it.
Yeah, so you're saying you like 6.5, way better than 5.5.
Right.
Yeah.
A 6.5. If I saw a 6.5, I'd say buy.
Yeah.
Take it on New Orleans.
Big game here, Eagles Vikings. A lot of distractions around the Eagles right now as well. I mean, it's just like it was last year. It seems like maybe a little worse. Vikings coming off a bye here at home against the Eagles in this game. I'm fascinated by this game and what Eagles team are we going to see? What Vikings team are we going to see? With their quarterback situation, with off the bye week, it's going to be an interesting one here. Your thoughts right now? By the way, 2.5-point favorites for the Eagles right now.
Yeah, my thoughts are where's offense coming from, and let's not forget, Minnesota's off the bye, but Philly played Thursday, so 10 days. Yeah. It's not like they're at a huge disadvantage coming off a short week or anything like that. 2.5 was a look ahead. It's 2 or so now, a little tick towards Minnesota. 47.5 was the total. Now it's 44. Boom. I agree with that. I think you're going to see maybe some sluggish offenses. Minnesota's because they're injured. Philly's because they have a poor offensive line and can't run. And so I think you're going to see a more sluggish kind of a ball game there.
On the turf there in Minnesota?
That's what indoors everybody thinks track meet. Let me just check circa here. So 42.5, 43.5. Now it's 44. Yeah. I would not do anything on that trend right now. Rather, what I would do is I choose to hold and see how high that number will go. 44 is a pretty important number. If you could get to 44.5 or 45, that's when I might jump on.
Okay. For the over-under in that Eagles-Vikings game. Another big one, Colts-Chargers. Colts coming off that, they had to play the Cardinals harder than I think they thought they would have to, or at least a lot of us thought they would have to. Chargers coming off a bye last week, I do believe. 4-2 on the season for them. No, they didn't have a bye. They played the same amount. I don't know. I should have looked that up. But Colts-Chargers game this week, Lou, I just confused myself. I love when I do that on air.
And I lost my line service here, so let me just pull it up.
Yeah, Chargers are 1.5-point favorites in this game at home. Over under 48.5, which tells me people think the Colts are going to score a lot in this game because the Chargers are happy scoring 9 points and going home with a win.
Yeah. I mean, these teams are pretty much mirrors of one another. 18th offense for the Chargers against the 15th defense against Indy. Chargers D, 13th ranked, 8th against the pass, can't stop the run a lick. And you got Indy coming to town with the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL because of that great offensive line. They can run the ball and pass the ball. What sticks out is Indy's offense here. They're 4-2 against the spread, +5 in the turnover ratio. I mean, Indy was a 2 in the look-ahead line, and what's that number now?
1.5 to the Chargers, minus 1.5.
So the Chargers are given 1.5.
Yeah, minus 1.5 Chargers, and it's minus 112 on that line. Also.
Okay, so it's ticked a little to Indy. They're making the Chargers look a little bit better. Chargers are really decimated with injuries, and this is probably a game I'm going to have to hold off on just because of those injuries and see how that goes. But I'm past the point of doubting Indianapolis, and I do believe they're built on solid front seven on D, front five on O, great solid quarterback play, solid best running back in the league, and solid receivers. Indy's for real. Chargers are decimated with injury and want to keep it close anyway. This could probably be some form of let's take Indy up in a tease and get them to 8.5 or something like that, and give myself a little more room to breathe than 1 or 2.
Yeah, so that 1.5 line there. Commanders Cowboys is another big game this weekend. Commanders right now 1.5 point favorites for the Commanders as we speak right now. And by the way, over under in this game 54.5. I think that might be low.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. I think you're going to see a shootout there, and the issue with Washington is they're coming off a home Monday Night Football game, short week into division rival. Well, it's Dallas. You're right. It is Dallas, but I don't care about that because it's a division rival, and the hatred manifests itself from the opening Monday morning, the first time they get to the Whirlpool. So was Dallas 2 a week ago? Hasn't changed much since then.
Well, it's plus 1.5 Dallas, and then they're minus 112. So looks like people are putting
2.
money on Dallas.
No, it was 2 a week ago. Now it's 1.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they're looking at Dallas a little, and if they are, it's because Washington's in that situation off the Monday night, and
Yeah, I mean Dallas'
it's a division
defense,
game.
as they showed last week, is terrible. So this might, like I said, that over under 54.5.
Oh, yeah,
I'll never look at an over at 54.5, but in this one I might just play a little bit. with that.
DVOA, Dallas has the 32nd D. Washington has the 8th offense. Okay, so arguably Washington's going to score. Dallas has the 7th defense, the 7th ranked offense themselves, 6 rushing, 10 passing, 11 passing. But they're facing a Washington team 5 against the rush, 18th against the pass. So that tells me that Dallas is going to pass on Washington, and Washington's going to score on Dallas, and that's why you're seeing that total.
Last one I got before we get to the Cardinals game. Buccaneers-Lions, Monday Night Football. I mean, the Lions look like they're the team we expect them to be now moving forward. They have some issues. Branch is going to be out with the suspension. Something just popped up as an alert that Dan Campbell's, talking about something out there and about something he was told. I'm not sure what that's about there. But Buccaneers, a surprise team here at 5-1. Not a surprise that they're 5-1 necessarily, but they also have looked good this year. I like this battle coming up on Monday night for this game and everything. And of course, I just lost there it is, 5.5 point favorite for Detroit at home in this game. That line seems too large for me. And for my taste right now, what do you say, Lou?
It was 4.5 and 53. I definitely see points.
The line for the points has gone down to 52.5 on FanDuel. So from that side,
from 53.5, I see points. I mean, the 50 means points. I really haven't done a lot with that game yet. I can tell you off Sunday night for Detroit, but that's a Monday Night Football game, right?
Yep.
So they're really not getting gypped too bad. Same with Tampa Bay. I don't have a lot of thoughts on the game. I tend to think that eventually Tampa's going to throw in a dud, and Detroit's due for a good game. So I maybe lean to Detroit, but I surely wouldn't be giving no 5.5 points.
Yeah, that's the 5.5. I'm like, really? With Baker Mayfield on that side, maybe it's just my my love for Baker Mayfield.
I also think that wide receiver who's just amazing for Tampa might be out.
Mbuka, yeah. You know what? He might actually be ruled out, so you might be right, yeah.
The good news is next week when I come in on Friday, I'll have been able to scour Thursday's practice report, whereas here I don't. You only get Wednesday. So, like Kyler Murray, I heard Steve saying that he's probably not going to play. Why would
I'm
they?
assuming, but limited still in practice, and that's a worrisome sign.
The Machiavellian organization saw what Brissett did, puts him in there again for another week, and sees what they have. Maybe he's the right one to take this team further. And they're not telling Murray that. They're telling Murray, hurry up, we need you. So hurry up. But oh, by the way, you're not playing this week. We're going to take one more look at this here, dude. And if he lights it up, you might have something to talk about here next week, Steve. I'm just telling.
You got Packers, Cardinals here in Glendale. We'll wrap up with this one here. Now, I have not looked at this line at all leading into it because I just assumed it was 7, 10, something like that. 6.5 right now. Packers are the favorite coming into this game. Here, that actually seems low. What was the look-ahead line on that?
5.
So, okay. So I just assumed
So
it
it
would be a
grows-
7 or 10 lead there coming into this.
And it grows to the Packers, and that's, they don't know about Murray. The running
Yes.
back situation's bad. I mean, the Cards looked competitive and good against one of the best teams in the league last week.
With the Colts?
I like the coach. I don't know that they're going to be able to get over that catastrophe against Tennessee.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about. Interesting enough on this over-under 44.5 in this game. Now, it depends on who starts. Jacoby Brissett can easily get you over that oval because the Packers will score. Packers start fast. They score early. They score fast. They score often. They take their foot off the pedal as the game goes on and let you back into it. If Jacoby Brissett starts, we could see that over pretty quickly. Kyler Murray on the other side. Now, if they announce Kyler Murray starting or as out, I would expect the line would move more toward the Packers. I would assume, but not necessarily, right?
Your guess good as mine. I mean, right now when I look, to me, after 1 week, there is no difference at quarterback, so I don't really have to worry about who's in and who's not.
Okay.
I think the Cardinals' advantage would be to give Brissett another week. But when I look at it, I'm looking at a 22nd ranked Arizona offense going against the 2 ranked Green Bay defense. So I don't know that I believe in points here, especially with the kid as wide receiver concussed and
Yeah.
don't
Zay
know if
Jones
he's
with a
going to
knee
play.
on top of it. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Green Bay's offense is 10th against the 14th ranked Arizona defense. But if you leave those guys out on the field all day, they're going to let in 41 like they did last week, or 31 or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that factor from that perspective. Yeah, because
that
Zay
DVOA.
Jones is out right now, practice with the knee. Martinez and Jr. concussion. We don't know his status, so
if
you can be very limited on the Cardinals' offense regardless of who starts.
So 44.5, and I'm seeing 44.5, 45.5 at some places. So, no, that's Green. Yeah, that's Green Bay. So to me, I maybe smell a little bit of an under here. I think that's how Arizona only had a chance to win the game. Shootout. Arizona doesn't have the ability to shoot out.
That I agree with on that. So definitely under's the
I
way
like
to look
the
if you're
coach,
looking
though.
at that.
Boy, they got to help him.
Yeah, I'm turning on the coach a little bit right now, but that's the fan in me, Lou.
Yeah, but how do you turn on the coach when it's that bonehead play? If I turned on the coach, it's because he didn't. Listen, I'm not hard on. You can't. There comes a time when you got to be I come from the Parcells school, and the kid that dropped that football wouldn't have been on Parcells' team the next day.
Well, I feel.
I'm not trying. I'm not saying get
I'm
rid
gonna
of
use
the
the term
kid.
soft. I know that's controversial, but I feel like he's too easy on his players and his coaching staff when they don't do things right. And maybe it's just publicly he's that way, but it's rubbing me the wrong way as this season's going on. Is what I'm at from that side. But the Dan Campbell thing, by the way, was Dan Campbell has said that indeed he was told that replay assist overturned that Jared Goff touchdown early in that game against Kansas City, because the NFL said nobody else, they did it on the field. And now Dan Campbell has said publicly that the NFL overturned that rule. So that's the controversy going on with Dan Campbell, that he just said that in a press conference earlier. Somebody's lying.
Well,
Lou?
does the NFL want Kansas City success because of the allure of Taylor Swift?
Well, I don't see that being a big allure this year. Like, I don't, we've seen a lot of Kansas City games. I don't even know if she's in the stadium anymore.
Yeah,
They're not doing it like they
I think
used
it's
to.
alive and well.
I think they want
that's
Kansas-
what this whole thing's about. And Dan Campbell doesn't have a muffler,
Well, that's the thing, and you don't.
and
let
so we
out
get to
the-
know. And
But-
thank
but-
God for Dan Campbell, because
but there's
otherwise we wouldn't know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of question marks around NFL refereeing,
Tons.
who does it, and if the NFL's lying and saying that replay assist didn't overturn that call, and everybody else is being told internally that they did, but publicly, that's a big deal in my eyes on manipulating these games. And why why have to lie about
welcome to item 652,000,000,001 of the masses getting lied to by everyone imaginable.
Lou, appreciate you coming in, sticking around for a little bit of overtime today.
Uh-oh.
I know. I just realized we went a little overboard, more so than I thought we did. But you'll be in next Friday remotely. You'll join us here. We'll talk UFC, of course, NFL as well. And it'll be on a Friday, so we'll have some more info than we normally have here on the Thursday. And for everybody else, thank you for joining us as well. McCollum on Business coming up at 11. The Pit Stop coming up later on today as well. My Look Ahead show on NASCAR racing coming up this weekend. Then stay tuned for that as well. Don't forget The Real Matrix. Episode 4 is up as of yesterday. Check that out. Robat TV, YouTube, free podcast system as well. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.